Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next few hours, along with Mike.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. And Spence is here.
Where are we again?
Good morning. Oh, wake up. Wake up, Spence. Wake up. And Bruce is with us via audio. Good morning.
I am here.
Are you watching the oranges freeze down in Florida?
No, I hope to fly to Florida tomorrow, but it all depends on whether these de Havilland 500 turbo jets, turboprops, can fly at 1 degree of temperature.
I saw that article this morning. They're wondering whether a lot of these planes can actually get off the ground at the temperature.
Recorded? Never mind, sorry. Mike, there's no reason not to record it on Talk Show, right?
No, nothing wrong at all.
Yeah. All right. Our number is 919-518-9773. Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And I want to welcome anybody on Blog Talk Radio or on Talk Show to the show. Feel free to call in, chime in, any questions, if you want to participate, if you want to get in with the chat on the show, then you need to go to computers2know.com and click on live and join the chat there. But you can talk with us from wherever you are. And this morning's show is being brought to you by that VidBlast guy, Tom Sinclair, which I can't get a hold of in the last 3 weeks. I wanted to say Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Either he's really away or he's ignoring me. One of the two. And
send him a bill, he'll call.
Yeah. And today is January 5th, 2014. Mike, you look okay.
Okay.
You sounded the last few days. You sounded really bad. I mean, I know you. Are you still coughing?
Oh yeah. I've got a great cough button. See, watch this.
Okay.
So no, it's getting better. It's just creepy crud. It's not the flu, and
yeah, it's
which
the crud.
I'm glad.
That's what it is.
I'm glad
crud.
for that. So, but it's just bizarre. I mean, this stuff it saps your strength and it whacks you mentally because. I mean, when I'm sick, I can't just lay in bed. I got to get up and do something. So at least I'll sit at the computer and read things. And I go back and I see a post I made on a website, and I don't even remember making the post. And I ordered something yesterday I'm not even sure I need. So maybe it's not a good idea to be on the computer when you're brain fried.
Well,
Hey,
that
Mike,
reminds me of a story I heard
on.
on Kim Commando yesterday about an app called digital texting or designated texting. And what you do is you set up your phone with certain people you're sure that you wouldn't want to send a message to if you weren't thinking straight between the hours of, let's say, 9 and midnight or 2 a.m. or something else like that. And if you try to text those people that you set up for, like you wouldn't want to send your boss or your spouse a crazy text message, when you're not all there, like Andrew is many times, Andrew Zarian, who's on the beach.
Oh,
and if you try to text them, or if you try to call them, it reroutes you to an 800 number. You set this app to not call them. So anyway, designated caller or designated texting, something like that.
Hey, that's a great idea, but it takes away far too many great stories.
Yeah, that's true.
About how somebody blew their career by texting their boss at 3:00 in the morning.
Yeah. Andrew, you don't need that app. You need material for your shows.
Yeah.
So don't get that app.
Andrew's on the beach, but what he didn't tell you, he is on the beach in Cancun.
Oh. Hey, Mike, by the way, thanks for buying me that i7 laptop. I appreciate it.
Laptop, it was supposed to be a desktop.
No, laptop.
See, that's what I'm telling you. You get these things, and stay away from the computer when you're sick.
What's Andrew saying? He's listening via Stitcher, but chatting via the iPod Touch.
Right. He's listening to the Stitcher live feed and using his iPod Touch to chat to us.
Okay. Morning, Andrew. Let's kick him out just because he's down there in that heat.
Nah, don't kick him out. He gets upset. He'll start pouting.
Is he listening to any Jimmy Buffett or Bob Marley, something like that,
I don't know. He's paying attention to news where they're getting ready to dope up New York. The governor of New York is getting ready to, by executive order, legalize medical marijuana.
Yeah, go ahead. Circumvent the state's constitution. No problem.
Well, the darn thing gets in the way anyway.
Yep.
Yes, so all these people that wanted it legalized in Colorado now are paying almost double or triple than what it cost on the street.
Well, they're going to tax it. I mean, if they're going to legalize
that's something.
tax it. Yeah.
Well, it's also demand is to raise. The price has gone up because the demand is so high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why are we running hell-bent into this whole thing? And I hear the argument about alcohol, about, it's the same thing. It's just another regulated drug, blah, 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 and all that stuff. But you know what? Do the political class just want everybody just stoned and drunk all the time?
Well,
so
I'm going to answer
attention?
your question, Spencer, because, and actually it doesn't bother me as much as it probably should. And I'm one of those who is typically opposed to that sort of thing. But there is, and this is something Andrew and I have talked about, is there is a changing of the guard. And what we older guys want and believe in is being thrown out the window. We're outnumbered by the new guys. They want to do things differently. It's their turn. They get to make the decisions. They're influencing the politicians, and they had to take what we dished out for a generation or two. Now it's their turn to dish it back at us, and that's what's happening. There's nothing you can do about it. It's a tidal wave, and you can't stop it. These people are going to smoke themselves into oblivion. And people say, oh, you old guys, yeah, ha, 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 you ought to know better. It's everywhere anyway. Don't worry about it. But did you know that I got a call from a friend of mine who is upset because this person's daughter and son-in-law are moving to Colorado with a grandchild so that they can legally smoke marijuana, moving from North Carolina to Colorado just so that they can legally smoke marijuana, separating her from her grandchild, whom she just adores. Something's wrong
Crazy.
with that.
Yeah. Have you seen some of the clips of that when the mayor was inaugurated and some of the things some of the people said on that platform, referring to New York City as like a plantation, and that their justification for taxing the rich was to give everybody a chance and an opportunity. It's ironic to me that the people who cry the loudest about racism and class warfare are the very ones who are most promoting in our country.
It's
insane.
From it. It's
exactly.
business.
And they guarantee their reelection.
Yeah. Well, again, you play to the crowd. If Justin Bieber wants to be a success, he has to sing songs that people want to hear. The politicians are going out to the new generation. They're telling them legalize marijuana, whatever. What do you want? Let's do it, and they get reelected, and that's the way it's going to happen. You want free health care? Let's do it. You want to not have to work and sit home and work off the largesse of the others? Okay, fine, let's do it, and then they get reelected. It's a losing proposition. Now let's carve in stone here what Andrew just said. He said, by the way, only 20 hospitals will be able to give them out when it happens. That's right now. And since it's already legal, and boy, this is working great, and let's go ahead and expand it. Yeah, I mean it's called incrementalism, and that is get your toe in the door. Now that it's legal in New York, you got to be able to produce it in New York. Now that you can produce it in New York, there's money in New York. When there's money, there's influence, there's political corruption. Well, since we're doing so well with it medically, then why don't we do it recreationally? After all, it's working so well in Colorado. Now, Jeff, it would be fabulous if you would do so to call in and tell us if there's anything more. Jeff just said in chat that he lives in Colorado. It's affecting all companies' HR policies. Well, I don't know what it means by affecting them.
But, they're going to have to change everything, all their policies.
Guys, this whole thing is a game changer because contrary to what, I mean, we're of the age where we grew up in the 60s drug revolution. We saw this stuff when it hit and what it did to society in 1968. And it wasn't legalized in 68. What happened was a certain, I don't know how you describe this segment of the population, but they decided they were going to flaunt it in the face of the law, and that is they were going to go ahead and smoke dope and do whatever they wanted to do. And, I mean, even our president participated in this new freedom. So that being the case, that was a revolution then, and I would argue that the benefits of those protests and changes in ways of doing things have not been positive. I don't think they've been positive. So, I mean, this toothpaste is out of the tube. This is not going to change. It's going to continue. In my opinion, it will be legal in probably 40 states within 10 years.
It's interesting. You look at the Netherlands, how they had such an open policy. Netherlands and some other countries in Europe, which no problem, heroin, whatever you want to use, we'll control it or whatever. And now they're all rolling this stuff back because it's just destroyed a whole segment of the society.
Well, there's some theory that's intentional.
Oh yeah, well that's what I'm saying too. Is like they're yes, I can see politicians wanting the tax revenue because it's going to be an enormous source of tax money.
Well, that plus what I'm saying is that I mean we're probably going down a path we ought to get off of, but what Merle said that 10 years after Portugal legalized drugs, drug abuse is down. Well, how do you abuse drugs if it's legal? I mean, I don't know.
What was it? There was something on the news about this guy that was it in our area? The guy that plowed head on into another car and killed two brothers from Ecuador or somewhere. I think it was.
I saw that, yeah.
And they said that the reason he there was no alcohol involved, but he was high on marijuana.
Hey, to swing this a little back toward the technology, I don't know if you know, but Bob Grant, who's recognized as the father of conservative talk radio, died this week at 84. Mm-hmm. And where would we be without conservative blogs? Where would we be without the internet and the technology that allows the dissemination of all information, not just
who knows
a little bit of the information?
That's why they want to have an off button, so they can essentially shut down information when they feel that it's to their advantage or it's out of control. They'll use that off button.
Yep.
And when I say they, I mean anybody who's in power to use it. We don't need sabotage.
Yeah.
Well, sort of a computer-related subject. There was a story. I'd been reading this on on internet news sites for the last few weeks, but it finally made the mainstream news, talking about the how susceptible the power grid is to an attack. And they were talking about it from a couple of different perspectives. One was a computer attack that would take out the control systems and actually shut the system down. The other one was EMP, having a weapon that would just destroy the computer, not just put a virus out there, but it would wipe the system out. Did we talk about this last week? I remember having a conversation with someone, but the general consensus is that if an attack like this would have happened, the Northeast, as well as the East Coast and in the upper north, the Pacific Northwest were the most vulnerable, and that had to do with the type of technology that's used in transmission of power. That if there wasn't an electromagnetic pulse attack, it would take out a certain type of transformer. They're more susceptible than other types, and that would be 4 to 10 years before the grid could be restored. And that is because the suppliers who are in the United States would most likely be knocked out of business with no power, and they'd have to rely on other countries to build the generating capacity or the transformer, replacement transformers for the ones that were destroyed. So this is a civilization changing thing. This is
no.
It is what it is. You know what? You choose the behavior, you choose the consequence. If we decide to let these things go on, then we just have to bear the consequences.
It'll be fine.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
Let's invest in advocacy.
Smoke some weed and relax.
Hey, there you go.
Don't worry. Be happy.
Yeah, just chill out, man. You guys are
chill out.
too
Exactly.
uptight.
So let's see what's happening in the stories here. Oh, did you hear about... Facebook is taking a beating, seems like.
You know, I haven't logged into Facebook in a week.
And listen to this. The recent decline in Facebook's popularity with teenagers appear to be worsening. A global social media impact study of 16 to 18-year-olds found that many considered the site uncool and keep their profiles alive only to keep in touch with older relatives for whom the site remains popular.
What's the alternative?
Researchers say teens have switched to using WhatsApp, Snapchat, and Twitter in place of Facebook. Now, Snapchat has been in the news because they got compromised. But, this happens here and there also to other companies. But there's a WhatsApp, an app. But that's very interesting. So if the kids are not going for that, I don't know what's going to happen with it. It's do you think
I heard the AARP was taking over Facebook. Is that true?
That's pretty good, Spence.
They said that at one point recently, the largest growing segment on Facebook was 50 plus.
Yeah,
So
why? Because everybody, 50 plus are people that's been working all their lives, probably, businesses, things like that, and they're trying to get more, trying to cope with this slow economy, so they go to any venue that they think may bring some business in. I remember, 5-6 years ago, when some of my customers were asking me, said, shouldn't we be on Facebook? I said, come on, Facebook is for kids. What are you talking about? As a business. Things changed. It's, anybody here has an account on Snapchat or uses WhatsApp?
Not here.
Twitter is a whole different thing, though. I mean, I don't see Twitter. You can't compare Twitter to Facebook.
Well, Twitter just added the video service, right? So you can post videos now.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, I heard that they added video posting.
Bruce, you were going to say something?
Well, I was just answering your question. I don't use either one of those.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, speaking of social media, the Andrew is in hot competition for a Stitcher Award, and he would appreciate everyone here going to the Stitcher website and voting for his show that is in the running. It's a tech show called What the Tech. It's a show he does with Paul Thurrott. An excellent show, very popular.
Excellent.
And I'm posting the link in chat, and I'll read it out for anyone who's not in chat. But I believe you have to have a Facebook account to use it. So if you don't have one, I'm not positive about that, but I think you have to hit a like button to do it. And but anyway, I have one, and I did it for him because he'll owe me, and I'll collect. But the link is stitcher.promotw.com, STITCHER, stitcher.promotw.com. And when you get there, you just follow the steps, and you have to 1, 2, 3, you have to hit the stupid like button. But once you have done that Facebook thing, you can vote once per day. When you go back to that site, then you can just say vote now, because you have already done the like thing. Then you would scroll down to best technology. And at this point on mine, What the Tech is in the top 5, and it's a little confusing. Because if you click on the name of the show, it tells you about the show. If you click on the graphic, it's how you vote. So I just clicked on it and voted for it. And if that doesn't make any... And he's against some tough competition. There's some really good shows in there. I mean, there's even a Leo Laporte show in there. And,
even? What is that, even?
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to go into it.
No, let's not get into it.
There are changes afront in that arena.
Arnie, no, you cannot vote for Computers 2K now because we're not in the running.
I don't think that's what he was saying.
Oh,
Write-in vote?
Saying?
Yeah, write-in vote? I don't think so. I mean, it's just a Stitcher thing anyway. I mean, there's no money or whatever. But when you go out and you bust your butt and you try to do things well, it's nice to be recognized for it. Most of this stuff I've never heard of. You know, one thing, I'm sitting here looking at the page, and one thing that I am sort of impressed about is there's some pretty good graphics here. These podcast guys have really gotten some nice graphics out. I remember many years ago, you had to go to advertising agencies to get graphics of this sort of thing. Now people do it at home on their, I guess they do it on their iPhones.
Talking about going to graphic designers, I had a call from somebody who's going to do a website for one of my customers. And she was asking, she said, so can I send you all the Photoshop files and you can just put it together? And I said, Photoshop files? Are you building the site on Photoshop? She said, yeah. I said, okay, that may be something new. I'm not, I have no idea
what does that mean.
What?
Yeah, what does that mean?
Yeah, and I said, what about, it's going to be huge. I said, what about all the text? It's going to be in graphics? She said, either that or you can take the words, you can type it if you want in HTML. And she said, so I guess you don't have Photoshop. I said, I do have Photoshop. She said, so you don't like the way to do it like that? I said, you must be one of the old school graphic designers that were doing all kind of brochures. She said, yeah. I said, well, this is not the way that you do a website, but we can try. She said, no, I've got somebody who can take this and make a website. I said, okay. When you go to these older school, I'll call them, in the very beginning, really, these are the people that built websites, flashy websites. But since all they knew is how to do stuff on paper, for paper, they don't understand that the web doesn't work the same way. That things will get slow when you use stuff like that. Unless there's something built into Photoshop that I'm not aware of, because I don't know anybody that
It's like
built it
writing
like
a book.
So.
Writing a book that you intend to distribute in the English-speaking market, but writing it in Aramaic.
Yeah.
And having somebody translate it for you.
Right. And you know English too, but you write it and
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
some habits die hard, right?
Yeah. But yeah, Mike, back to what you were saying. Some of the graphics on these are really nice. Uh-oh.
Echo? I'll give you a great analogy. I recently did some plumbing work for my son, redoing a shower. And because I didn't have access to the PEX crimping tool, I did it all in copper. And one of his buddies came over and he said, wow, your dad must really be old school because he did it all in copper. If it was me, I would have done it all in plastic. I said, I would have done it in plastic too had I had the tools. But
wouldn't it have been cheaper to buy the tool than it was to buy the copper?
no, I had a lot of the copper.
Oh,
I already had.
Yeah, you know all these
bags of
houses,
old
those abandoned houses that don't have any plumbing left.
Yep.
Spence goes around and collects.
That's right. Actually, my first house was that. It was an abandoned home that I bought that had all the copper. Every piece of exposed copper was stolen.
yeah.
Did you hear there was a story, something about some thieves broke into a data center and stole a couple of big reels of fiber optics, thinking that they were stealing copper?
Oh, well. Yeah, I don't think you can fence that on the market as easily as the copper.
I mean, somebody may want it, somebody that would know what it's worth, but I don't know that it's that expensive either.
It depends on the kind.
Okay.
Single mode fiber can be pretty expensive. And if it's depends on the type of construction of the fiber, of the actual cable itself, the jacket around it.
So this is a story from last week, and I don't know if did they get those people for the ship that was stuck?
They
No,
did
they're
take
not
them
going-
off, yeah.
Oh, they did?
Took them off by helicopter and put them onto another ship.
Who, Al Gore went to got him?
Yeah, he
Yeah,
went
he
down
did. He
himself.
flew down there in his magic carpet.
Yeah.
His
Unbelievable.
carbon dioxide producing airplane.
Private jet.
They said that the Chinese snow dragon has gotten tantalizingly close, but was hampered by unusually thick ice.
Yeah, imagine that. Ice growing in summer in the Antarctic. What's up with that?
This is somebody's playing a trick. That can't be right.
But there was a bigger ship, an Australian
Yeah.
icebreaker that came in and it's stuck in the ice now.
Yep. The Aurora.
They came in to be the rescue ship and they couldn't got within about 3 miles and had to turn back, and because of weather conditions and other things too. And then now they're stuck.
So did they get him off with a helicopter?
Yes, they rescued the ones. The crew stayed on the ship, but the researchers, the tourists, as they're called in most of the news stories, were mostly global warming observers. Got off.
What kind of report they're going to put out?
Well, we're
Nick
just a
has
bunch
a-
of Neanderthals because we just don't get on board with this.
Yeah. And then Nick has a apparently has
Snow
or
camp.
knows of a teacher in the public school system that is saying that all the ice is caused by global warming.
Yep.
Yeah, they're going to
That's
find
why
a way
I'm
to.
telling you, they're smoked up. They're smoked up.
They're going to find a way to spin it to show that this is because of.
They already
global-
have.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we lost that argument.
Yeah.
But the good news is that, and Roy Spencer, the climatologist for the University of Huntsville, has said it best in an article I read a couple of years ago. He said, with all this and all the excitement and angst over, people who believe that this is not happening the way that it's being pushed on us, he said, the one thing we have on our side is the fact that it will eventually reveal itself, because it's. So it might take a long time, but you can see the sentiment is definitely changing. There's
Well, that's the whole point of
more
this.
peer-reviewed science coming out that's disputing it. So
Well, these guys are ostracized, castigated, intimidated, threatened. Their families are threatened. I mean, we won't get into it, but there's some things going on that I don't even believe the new smoked up generation is going to tolerate. Eventually, they're going to see the forest for the trees and decide that something's not right.
Eventually, maybe a little
It'll
late.
happen.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I don't get too upset about a lot of these things, because there are universal truths like facts like laws of gravity. It doesn't matter if you believe in them. They're going to prevail.
Yep. That's good.
yeah, you
that's
might
that's
believe
good.
you can defy gravity and step off the 60th floor and float in the air, but
Right, that's my whole point. I mean, these things will resolve themselves. It's kind of the thing when you have your kid and you say, you know what, I don't touch that hot stove, don't touch that hot stove, because you know what's going to happen if the kid touches the hot stove. But eventually, the kid may touch the hot stove, so you just hope to minimize the damage, because once the kids touch the hot stove, he or she will never do it again.
a
And
good friend of mine's dad was a paratrooper in World War II. And during their training, apparently new nylon parachutes were coming out, and they were being pushed out on everybody. And there was a lot of controversy over whether they would work when they were wet and were damp. So the commanding officer of this one, wherever they were training, says, I'm going to put this myth to sleep. He takes a parachute and he literally soaked it in water and then went up in a plane and jumped out of the plane, and the parachute didn't open. He went right into the ground. People hold their beliefs and they'll ride them right to the end.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what they use today.
Oh, I know, but apparently it hadn't been perfected yet. It was a brand new technology.
Seems to me that what did they use before?
Silk.
And silk does not.
Silk apparently didn't have that issue, but nylon, when they first started using it, did.
Yeah, I did nylon, so I don't know.
Well, no doubt nylon was a better, cheaper way to do it. I mean, silk, can you imagine making all parachutes out of silk? What happened to the price of silk? Because it's all made literally by worms. So you can't
Let's
synthesize silk.
Let's go to kind of back to technical computers.
What?
Somebody called yesterday and asked me, said, can I ask you a few questions about buying a computer? I said, sure. She's buying a computer from Best Buy.
There's your problem.
Well, wait. Best Buy offered her, just for yesterday, for $80, they will move all her programs and data from her old computer, which was running XP, to the new computer, which is running Windows 7. And I told her, I said, well, they could probably move your data. As far as programs, I don't know that you can do that because there is no way to upgrade. Am I wrong?
There actually are programs that allow you to move programs, and I've heard people say that they work. I've never tried them, and I don't know. I mean, if you think about it, for the computer to be able to execute the program, it has to be able to find all the bits and pieces. So if the program can execute and find all the bits and pieces, then maybe some program could put it into some sort of sandbox and then figure out where it goes to get everything and moves it. But I don't know. I'm skeptical, but open-minded.
There's a program called Zinstall, Zinstall, that talks about how you can move programs, applications, everything over to your new computer. So it claims. Works with Windows 8, Windows 7, XP, and Vista. XP? So you're going to move an XP program over to Windows 8?
Well, you see, I don't understand that.
It might, maybe it's not possible. Oh, it does. Here's the caveat. It said, Zinstall products work for Windows 8, Windows 7, XP, and Vista, but it doesn't say that it will go from XP to Windows 7.
Yeah, it could go to XP, I guess,
yes,
is what it would say. Okay.
It
maybe
says,
that's possible. I'm not, I mean, you know, our buddy Ken says that it will work. I'm not.
It says there's something called XP7. If your primary goal is to keep Windows 8 incompatible applications still running when moving from XP to Windows 8 or to Windows 7. So apparently it moves it into XP mode. I don't know how else it could do it.
I don't know.
That's possible, but it's interesting how it would actually move it over. I mean, I just set up a machine for an accountant who was using Parallels on a Mac to run old XP programs for tax software. That has to go back to 2003, which unfortunately till the software from up to 2008 was all XP only. And so in order for him to free up space on this Mac to have the Parallels now run a Windows 7 environment, I created a new machine. Actually, I renovated and upgraded an older laptop, more memory, and I'm running Windows 7 on it with XP mode, and I now reinstalled all those tax software programs onto this machine running XP mode, so he could free up some space on the Mac, and also to not have to run. He could never run Windows 7 and Windows XP at the same time in Parallels. There just wasn't enough memory. So now he can run. It just cleaned his environment up a bit, but it was tedious because I had to install from scratch.
Yeah, MC Prodnet says...
That's Merle.
Yeah. The cloud will make all this mute someday. And it's true.
Well, maybe not.
Moot.
Time will tell.
Well, it's just interesting to hear that people are saying that they can move applications from one machine to the other.
Yeah, maybe it happens. Maybe it happens. Maybe it will.
Seems to me like a good way to get a customer for life, because then they're going to come back and say, hey, this doesn't work and that doesn't work. Okay, well, then we need to sell you a new one. And
well, based on my observation and having talked with some of these guys offline, if a company is willing to move everything over for $80, they have a program they're going to run. Whatever works, whatever doesn't, you're screwed. I don't think they're going to go program by program through your computer for $80 and make sure that everything works.
This software, two versions of it, is 119 and 149, depending on which one you purchase.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
So they're saying it's as easy as downloading a program to your old PC, downloading it to the new PC, connect it using a network cable, and it said automatically press go, start the migration, and transfers everything from old PC to new PC. 100% confidence. No technical knowledge required. Wow. This is just a miracle for 119. That's amazing. If it really does that, I can't imagine how would they run an old 32-bit
Right.
XP or 16-bit XP program anywhere in Windows 7 unless it was in XP mode. And even that's limited. And it says we can transfer any Windows version, XP, Vista 7 or 8, any edition, and with 32 and 64-bit programs, bit systems. Man, we ought to contact these people, get a free sample, and try it. Wouldn't it be funny if this was a colossal scam?
Well, I don't know that it'll be a scam or there'll be a lot of writing about this.
Yeah. They've also got a corporate version for called Migration Suite. It says keep incompatible XP applications running on Windows 7. 15 to 50% of all XP applications are incompatible with Windows 7. I would say it's higher than that. Well, all right. Well, probably a lot of effort went into this if they can get it to work.
Let me...
They talk about
see
in their
about
technology brief about decoupling the OS from the hardware, which with XP, I mean, you're moving away from XP. Obviously, you're not moving anything to XP. With XP, it would be very difficult. It just doesn't react well to changes. It says their approach frees the OS from the hardware, allows free movement of the user habitat across different hardware platforms. Well, that's virtualization. If that's what they're doing, and it's really a byproduct of virtualization.
Good morning.
Yeah, I don't know. Did you get in?
What, Bruce?
Oh, I thought you were going to say so. I was going to say, I don't know if any of you are Tom Merritt fans, but, he's not on Tech News today with the Twit Network anymore, but he has 3 episodes, I believe, this week of a brand new news show that he's going to be doing on technology. And if you follow him on Tom Merritt on Google+, you can see the Hangouts on Air that he's done. He's had a couple guests on there, and I really like Tom Merritt. I think he's a real class act and really knowledgeable on technology, and it's good that he's going to be doing another show. I think it's called the Daily Tech Show, something like that.
Yeah, and he already did.
Yeah, just about 30 minutes in length. I mean, just a good length to go over the news, and I enjoyed each one of them that he did this week.
Yeah, he is good. And let me see something here first. Okay. Morning, Nick.
Good morning. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Yeah, and Tom Merritt is he's got good personality to be a podcaster. He's got good voice, and it's the first time that I've seen him was when that whole controversy about him leaving Twit came about.
Yeah, the video quality of his Hangouts on Air for the 3 shows that he did, he refers to them as beta. I think he's primarily going to be an audio podcast, but I thought the video quality on Hangout on Air was really good. He's got a great setup as far as camera and lighting and so forth.
He's been doing it a long time. He ought to be able to get it perfectly right.
So, Nick, how's the snow cam working today for you?
It's not working today. We got snow Wednesday night into Thursday. No, Thursday all day we got snow. So it was up Thursday.
So how much snow is out there?
Like 10 inches. something like that. Not a whole lot.
By the way, on this Tom Merritt thing, his co-host is Darren somebody.
Darren Kitchen.
Darren Kitchen. This is a tech show, and I tried to clue him offline, but he wasn't interested. So I'll tell you now. He is using a side address microphone, and he's talking into the end of it.
Yeah, his audio quality is crap.
Yeah, that's a Yeti.
Of course.
Looked
But
like
now
a
he's
blue
using
Yeti.
a Behringer C1.
Why did you tell him to use the Behringer C1?
Oh no, heck no. No, I tweeted him and asked him what mic he was using. He told me he responded Behringer C1. I said, you might want to follow me. I've got some information that will be useful to you, because I didn't want to embarrass him publicly. And for the last 2 days, he has not taken me up on it. So he's one of these hot shots who wants to have 37,000 followers, and he follows 4 people back. That makes you look like a big shot.
What a shame.
Well, what do I care? I was trying to help the guy.
Oh yeah, Mike, that link that you sent me about that you titled publicity. That was very nice.
I don't remember. Oh, what was it? The one somebody wrote about me?
Yeah.
Oh,
very nice.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, that's.
There's a link somewhere on a blog that somebody was talking about Mike and his advice and all, and this is what you're looking for sometimes, just to be what's the word?
You just like to know that the time that you spend is appreciated.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you were trying to say revalidated. And
revalidated. That's a good word. Yeah.
I don't need that.
Well,
I've been doing this stuff 50 years. I don't need it. But it's nice to know that when you take time away from your family and other things you just as soon do to help people, it's nice to know they appreciate it. I mean, I've got a guy I'm working with now from Egypt, and he's got some very unique challenges because he doesn't have the ability to just go down to B&H and pick up a piece of equipment. He has to work through a proxy type service that he buys it in the United States, and then they ship it to him in Egypt. If he doesn't like it and has to return it, it's a major operation. And for most pieces of equipment, it's probably cheaper to throw it away and buy another one than it is to exchange it for a different model. Meaning that he's doing a lot of homework. He's kind of driving me nuts, but he's polite and he seems very appreciative, so I'll try to help him.
Well, that's what makes you.
Yeah. Well, he may be listening this morning. I sent him the link.
Now, for those of you that use Linux and passwords and stuff, an article on Softpedia claims that Linux distributions using Network Manager are storing Wi-Fi passwords in plain text in /etc by default. The article recommends encrypting the full disk or removing Network Manager and using a different tool like netctl. This is sort of like what Firefox, for instance, when you save a password, it's got a password manager that remembers it for next time. So there's the same thing for Linux, and this is for Wi-Fi passwords. And that's bad when you store passwords in plain text. In any case. You know how they say don't put it on sticky notes and stick it on your monitor? That's kind of the same thing. And I guess as a result of what happened with Target, malware targeting point-of-sale systems are becoming more and more now becoming used and found out. And that's perfect. You infect a point of sale. Every time somebody slides a card, you can get it with all the information that you need. So this came from CERT, from Homeland Security, saying the way to combat it is to use strong passwords, and that's true about any password that you use online. Update your POS software applications. Don't just let it sit there. Install a firewall. A lot of those systems do not have anything to go along with the operating system because they figured, okay, I've got XP, or I've got some of them run on Windows 98 or Windows 2000 even. And as long as they install the POS and it's working for them to collect money, that's all they care. They don't understand that they are on the internet in most cases. That's not a good thing. So they said to install a firewall. Do use an antivirus. Say, well, I don't go on the internet, so I don't need an antivirus. Well, not so. Restrict access to the internet. There's no reason for anybody to use that computer to go on the internet at any time. I mean, the only reason you need to be on the internet is maybe to get updates. So you can set up a proxy that will only allow you to go to the vendor to get updates. And disallow remote access. Because the way that these guys are doing it is they come remotely and install software to infect your computer. Now, and this is a situation from one of my customers who had a POS system, always had problems with it. Always had to go to get the person that installed it to come in and do this and update that, and was costing them money. They ended up buying a register, a cash register with all the stuff in it that gives them more information, and it was actually cheaper than to buy a computer and install the software on it. And Jim was saying, why didn't you tell me about this before? I said, I'm not into this kind of stuff. I never knew that what you're doing with that POS system. They needed to know how many were sold, what was sold more, and that's what it gives the vendor. And apparently, a cash register, a nice cash register, not real high end, gives you all that information for a lot less, and you really can't screw around with it because it's a ROM that's in there. To update it takes a lot of work, so you can't write stuff into the operating system. So if any of you is doing that, think about that. And there was another one about a hacker found a backdoor in the Linksys WAG200G router that gives access to the admin panel without authentication. Further research shows that these devices are made by Sercom, meaning that Cisco, WatchGuard, Belkin, and various other may be affected as well. From that article, it says the backdoor requires that the attacker be on the local network. So what that means is, so this isn't something that could be used to remotely attack DSL users. However, it could be used to commandeer a wireless access point and allow an attacker to get unfettered access to local network resources. So what they mean is somebody on the inside, on the network, needs to break into it, change something to allow somebody from outside to come in. So it's not as bad as it sounds, but it's bad. And if you're in an environment for home, who's going to go in and do it? But, well, now that I'm thinking about it, if you don't have a good password on your wireless, somebody can hook into your wireless, and they're on the local network, and they can do it. And then come in remotely. But I kind of doubt that anybody is going to come in on a home network. They're probably more interested in big networks where there are a lot of people use it. But that's the situation there. Yeah. Yeah, Bruce.
Yeah, I was going to say, so CES starts this week. I'm just kind of curious. What sites do you guys like and prefer to get your CES coverage? What's some of your favorites?
I don't have any favorite anything because I don't think the CES is anything important.
I kind of guessed that.
Nick, do you?
I mean, probably just the normal Engadget people. I mean, there's nothing too crazy. I mean, I'm not expecting anything too crazy this year.
What about you, Bruce? Where do you go?
Yeah, I think Engadget and The Verge, a couple places that I like to go. They have a nice presentation, usually have some good photography associated with their reporting. So those would be my two favorites. But I agree, CES. I mean, there are some people that, some people have to go, to cover it because they're part of news organizations. But, I'm not expecting anything earth-shattering. Can't afford a 4K TV anyway. So.
I was reading something about YouTube is going to go 4K.
There is already 4K on YouTube.
Really?
I believe so, yes.
Well, it's kind of ridiculous for YouTube to go 4K before Time Warner does.
It's kind of useful for them to go 4K when you can't even load their 720p videos, so...
I mean, they're terrible. YouTube is horrible. You hit play and you have to hit refresh and jump back and change the resolution and all that. It's pretty useless.
Yep.
Hey, one of my favorite alarm clock apps on the Android side is called Timely, and Google acquired the maker of the Timely app, Bitspin, this week, and now you can get it for free. So it's a really elegant app, great UI. It's beautiful the way it's designed, but if you want a good stopwatch, alarm clock, timer app, you ought to check out Timely. It's gorgeous. And it's free.
Timely.
Yeah, that was a timely announcement from me.
Arnie is saying that his monitor is not 4K.
Well, there is that problem.
Yep.
By the way, I said I was going to buy some LED light bulbs, and I did.
Oh yeah, let's hear the saga.
Well, I don't want to go through the whole saga, but I've had run-ins with Home Depot and Lowe's this week. Normally, whenever it's normally that means the problem is me instead of them, but I ran into some nonsense at both places, and Home Depot, to their credit, made good on it. And but anyway, I did get a couple of the Cree 60-watt LED bulbs, and I have to tell you, I am impressed. My wife, who is very critical of CFLs, she can't stand the way they turn on. She doesn't like the color of the light. I mean, she detests them. My ultimate test was to put one in a lamp where she was going to be, and watch her to see, and then ask her what she thought about the lamp. She thought I was crazy asking why I thought about a light bulb. And when I told her it was an LED, she said, "Well, okay." I mean, it just didn't register with her. So I believe that these LED bulbs will be the replacement for incandescent. And whenever the $13 bulb gets down to 50 cents, then I think we will be in good shape.
Yeah, when it does.
It'll be interesting to see how long it lasts. One of the differences that I did observe, and this is not the LED bulb's problem, but one of the things that I did observe is that it's at 60 watts. It's not quite as bright as an incandescent 60-watt bulb, but the difference is not big. CFL, you can tell a lot of difference between a quote-unquote 60-watt CFL and a 60-watt incandescent. But part of the problem that I have is that the voltage coming into my house is higher than normal. It's 124 volts instead of the nominal 110, 115 volts. That makes an incandescent bulb burn brighter and, of course, burn out more often. So the LED bulb probably is at the right intensity for a 60-watt bulb, the right luminosity, if that's a word, or luminance. I forget what the one is, but whichever it is, it's probably correct, even though it's a dimmable bulb. But anyway, the color's good, and I like it.
Mike, so do you have any incandescents and still in the house?
Oh, heck yeah.
You know those little discs that you can buy that.
Oh, the DC converters?
No. What they are is they're actually called bulb savers or transient surge protectors, and what they are, I use some. They're not good. Now I haven't used some in 30 years. Maybe the new ones are good, but all they really are is some sort of metal oxide varistor that has a voltage drop across it, and the idea is
it reduces the voltage.
Well, yes and no, but it also reduces the transient response of the bulb so that it doesn't take spikes. And that is that whenever, my brain is not working right now, so if this doesn't make any sense, then it'll be recorded in perpetuity. But what happens whenever you turn the voltage on to an incandescent bulb, at the moment that the voltage hits the bulb, the element or the filament, the heat sensitive, the filament on it is cold. The resistance is low. It puts this giant current surge through that element, which theoretically decreases the life of that element. Then, as the bulb heats up, the resistance increases. The bulb glows. It stabilizes. And so, what these things do is they reduce that spike, that current spike going to the bulb, and they also have a voltage drop across this little disc. But when I use them, and maybe here, maybe I should try them again. Maybe the new ones are better, but they actually made the bulb dim to the point that I had to use 75-watt bulbs where I normally used 60-watt bulbs because of the change in intensity.
That's what I never used them. I was going to ask you, would it take it from 100?
Trying new ones.
Yeah, so if what do you think? From 124 volts, what would it drop it to?
I don't know. I mean, somebody told me at one point that all they were was a couple of back-to-back diodes. A diode has a 0.7 of a volt drop across it, so if you put three in series, that's 2.1 volts. Then you put them back-to-back or anti-parallel. Now you have an AC voltage drop of about 2.1 volts either way. And Arnie says the disc is a one-way diode. Well, Arnie, some of them may be, but some of them are anti-parallel diodes in that they are only trying to introduce a certain a voltage drop of about, I don't know. I mean, you could put 5 of them in series and end up with a 3.5 volt drop. And believe it or not, when it comes to the life of the bulb, once you get to the rated voltage, a change of 2 or 3 volts, it can make a difference, not only in the intensity or the brightness of the bulb, but also in the life of the bulb. Now, the part about the one where Arnie's talking about the disc being a diode, of course, diodes are one way, but if it's just a diode, a single wave rectifier, that bulb will, I mean, I don't see any value in that because the intensity of the bulb goes down dramatically. I mean, dramatically.
How would a one-way diode work in an AC, which goes
Yeah,
back and forth?
You have to have it on both sides of the wave.
Yeah.
Nope.
How
If
would
you
it work?
look at, because if you take an AC signal and run it through a diode, you end up with what's called pulsating DC. But if you look at pulsating DC, I mean, a sine wave is a sine above zero, a sine wave below zero. If you run it through a diode, it's now a sine wave above zero and then flat at zero. If in that wave, if you look at it, if you back up and look at it from a distance, it actually sort of still looks like a sine wave. It is still alternating current, even though the current doesn't go negative. It's still
Well,
alternating.
then you just, like you say, it is really DC current. That device I was referring to does exactly that. It was this little button that you put in the bottom of the bulb socket that would actually, through a diode, remove one side of the AC wave.
That's half the power available to the bulb. I mean, that is.
I was doing a search on it. Apparently, they did exist at one time, and nobody can. Somebody was asking about them on a forum. They said, "Yeah, they used to be around years ago." And
Does that mean that it goes from 115 to 60 some or 50 some?
Yeah. Yeah.
I just
the
use a
light bulb?
240 volt circuit. That's all, and you're all set.
Well, I mean, the voltage. This is getting too technical, but the voltage is actually an RMS value, and the peak values are 1.414 times the RMS value. But if I remember correctly, it's only been 50 years, seems like. But the RMS value does drop. It's probably not linear. I don't remember what the rectified RMS value is, or the effective RMS value is of a rectified 110 volt signal. But bottom line is, it's a pretty useless way to do anything.
I used to have an true RMS multimeter. It eventually died, but root mean squared.
Yep.
It was a very accurate way to measure voltage as opposed to a cheap meter.
919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype.
So
All right.
I wanted to bring up a new product that I
No.
saw today
No.
when I was going through the. I want to show you my new tablet. This is really fascinating. Hang on a second. Let me switch cameras. This is my new tablet. My new touchscreen.
Okay, you're going to have to
laugh.
describe it because I can't see it.
You laugh. It's a 22-inch monitor that I've got laying on its side.
Where do you talk into it?
Well, I'm not sure. Well, this is just a prop to talk about the actual product, which just came out. It's made by, let's see, who's it made by? It's either Asus or Acer. Oh, Acer. 21-inch portable touchscreen all-in-one PC. And it has, it's just like you would think of an all-in-one as a monitor with everything, the processor, everything built in. It's that, and it's a touchscreen, and it's portable because it's got a battery, so you can pick it up and take it with you. 21.5-inch screen.
Now, never mind the size as much as how heavy is it?
Let's see. I had it. Well, I had it in several. I got to go back and find it.
21
It was
inch.
actually being sold by Best Buy. Was where I saw it. I just got to work my way back here. Sorry.
You can walk around down the street with two of them in your hand, and they think that you're Moses.
Can you imagine? Hey, I'm making a phone call. Hold on a second here.
Oh, it's a phone too?
Well, it can run Skype.
21-inch tablet.
Yep. Let's see. I'll put a link to it.
Interesting. Arnie is saying, how much does it cost?
$5.99. No, $6.99. I'm sorry. $6.99.
Can you also mount it on the wall?
That's a good question. It didn't look like I had a Visa mount on it. Let's see. I'm going to the. There was a good. Here we go. This was a review, and they actually had pictures of it. They show it here. Let me show the picture. It's got it in contrast to the Surface RT, just to give you an idea of the difference in size.
So you didn't put the link there yet.
I have to open this in another. I just realized my screens are on two different computers, so I can't open the window and do a screen capture. I have to open it on the machine I have Skype running on. Give me a second.
I mean, I have a 19-inch all-in-one touchscreen, an HP. The thing is heavy. I mean, it is heavy. I couldn't see walking with it from one office to the other.
This is 14 and a half inches high by 20 inches wide. See, I can try to tell you what it weighs. It does have a 6-cell lithium-ion battery.
Yeah.
Comes with a wireless keyboard and mouse.
Yeah.
It's got built-in speakers, Intel graphics, full 21-inch full HD IPS LED touchscreen, 1920 by 1080. Amazing.
They don't want to mention the weight, do they?
No, I'm looking. Hopefully it's in this article.
That's what I'm saying. They don't want to mention it.
2.5 hours of battery. Can you imagine driving that big screen and still getting 2.5 hours of battery out of it? That's amazing. All right, let me get to this site on this machine here so I can actually show you some of these pictures.
I mean, Spence, why don't you just do what you said? Put the link there. Let everybody go and look at it on their own.
I'll put it in the chat. That's the machine I'm on.
But as far as I was impressed. I can't remember what kind of computer it was though. A customer brought in. It may have been a Dell. And I know the customer. He also has a laptop at home, so he brings his new computer that he bought at Sam's Club. Might be a Dell or an HP, and he brings me his laptop power supply. And I said, "What do I need this one for?" And he said, "That's for this computer." I said, "What?" And sure enough, I haven't seen those that have an external brick. So you do not have a power supply in the computer anymore. The computer runs on whatever it was, 18 volts, which was very nice. That means you do not really need a UPS for it. You can run it on a battery. Oh, 12 pounds. Sheesh.
Here's a picture of the monitor, the all-in-one compared to the Windows RT, Surface RT.
Oh,
it's
boy.
pretty amazing.
Oh boy!
And it looks like they've done a pretty good job of packaging it. I mean, when I went in to get this monitor, this is a 22-inch monitor. I went in to get this just to use as a prop, and I realized this is kind of an early monitor. It's probably at its thickest, it's almost 2 inches thick. So it's
12
I should ask them to send a sample of this thing. That would be fun. Let's see if I can put this in there a little bit better. There we go. There's a picture of the what it looks like from the back. So, very interesting.
Yeah. All right.
Whatever.
Very interesting indeed.
Yes, and Aaron, it is on the market. It's available at Best Buy in the States. Not sure what around other parts of the world. But it says that it's available. You could buy it today. It's actually in today's Sunday ad. So,
Oh, so this is a special price, $5.99?
I guess it's a sale price. Let me see. What does it say?
Okay.
$80 off.
Okay.
Maybe if we, since Mike is so loopy, if we encourage him, he might actually buy us a couple of them and not remember.
Facebook has been accused of intercepting private messages of its users to provide data to marketers, according to a class action suit filed in a federal court in California.
Isn't it in the
term of service?
Terms of service that they can do that anyway?
I don't know. The social networking company scanned plaintiffs' private messages containing URLs and searched the website identified in the URL for purposes including but not limited to data mining and user profiling, according to a complaint in the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of California.
Our own government gets away with it, and we're like, oh, yawn. But Facebook does it, and everybody's crazy.
Good point, Spence. I was just going to make a comment about that. Yep.
Yeah, it's amazing that we sit back and just kind of accept it now, and when the new stuff comes out, everybody kind of just rolls their eyes. Yeah, more of the same. I was at a local neighborhood event the other day, a few days ago, and one person said, "Oh, I don't have a problem with anything they do as long as they keep us safe." And I sat back and I tried to think about my reaction to that, to say, well, it's kind of a slippery. What do they call it? A slippery slope. Once you are okay with one thing, it's very easy to just accelerate.
Yeah, but by the same token, and I guess it's different cultures. Look in Israel. What the NSA is doing here is nothing compared to what is going on in Israel as far as intelligence and data gathering and searches and things like that. Do you think people care? No. Is it being abused? I don't think so. Or you would hear from people, especially these days.
Mike was right before saying that the younger generation has a whole different expectation when it comes to privacy. Privacy is now, it's like it's flipped on its head because you want people to see everything there is to know about you.
Well, I don't know that it's the young. I mean, remember, I remember this from 35, 40 years ago. And it's still going on these days. And nobody is complaining about that because it is keeping the country safe. But it's being done for that purpose. I mean, nobody's using that data nobody's abusing the data.
We think.
Or you don't know about it. Let's put it this way. Okay, so you don't know about it.
And that was the point I made when I was talking to those people about that we're at that party, was that, hey, human nature being what it is, what's to stop the person with bad intent or just who, say you find out, oh, there's a guy that works for the NSA and has access to this information and has a person that they don't like. How do we know that they're going to be perfectly ethical in their approach and not just because we've already heard that they've used that information. People at the NSA have used that information to go after people they didn't like. So, and use information to embarrass people. It's like this is used for national security only. Well, what controls access to say that it is and isn't? Who is it? The frontline person who decides? Is it the next level? Is it the top level? With all this information coming in, there has to be a breakdown in what they say at the top from what actually happens at the bottom. We know that. I mean, you look anywhere you work, you're going to find people that will take advantage of or alter the rules for their own benefit. So this just takes it. Just the consequences of this are just so much greater.
Again, I guess the difference is culture. The cultural differences. I mean, you grow up in a situation where you are threatened. You develop a sense of self-preservation, sort of, that every Israeli possesses. And when you work in this type of environment, you're really doing it because you feel like you're doing the right thing to protect the country and its citizens. And especially when you hear what's happening around the world, you may think, and that's the way I would think about it, if I would abuse it and somebody's going to find out, that is really going to put a lot of other people in danger. So I'll better not do it.
Right.
But
well, just think about a person who doesn't have any or has jaded ethics.
Well, I don't
mind
think
using it to blackmail
again,
their own boss.
I don't think that person will be in a position to work at that place that does that.
Oh, look at Snowden.
Snowden, I mean, yeah, look at Snowden. Look at a lot of other people here that work in the administration. I mean, they're not being vetted. They're not being looked at. I mean, what is the when you think about how they do things in Israel, what do you think about? What's the first thing that comes to mind?
What about
that affects us here also? That we say, oh boy, why can't they do it the way they do it in Israel?
Oh, yeah. Well, security, sure.
Yeah, and they can tell. I mean, there are people that have that gift of being able to tell who is okay and who is not okay with certainty. And I don't know. I would like to think that that's how it's being done, and I would like to think that they can do the same thing over here. But obviously, he did things that I couldn't even dream about doing under same being in his position if I was working for the government doing this in order to protect the country. There's no way that I could do that. Now, yeah, there are people who are going to be out there and are going to say, oh, he did great. He exposed it. And, come on. Only because there's not enough news right now, that's great. But it's not great because our kids may be in danger. I mean, when I'm looking at how, all these computers are being built by China, give it 5-10 years and let's see what happens then. They can probably just pull one switch and all the computers will die. Maybe not.
That
but
or
maybe.
There's things built into all these computers, backdoors and surveillance that nobody knows about.
See, so I don't know. I don't know about that. It's just
look at what happened with the highway, with the routers and switches that they were building. And it's funny. This actually made it into a network television show where they talked about how this company was building data switches and didn't realize that each switch had a surveillance chip built into it.
Yep.
And they were all compromised. So this has already been shown that code exists in Highway's products, whether the company put it there or the Chinese government put it there or whatever. I mean, this is a company that's 50% owned by the Chinese military.
Yep.
Are we going to run our national security infrastructure on that product?
We are.
Yeah, we do. So, plus, they're also shown to have copied other vendors' code.
Yeah.
Literally. I mean, they actually found the programming notes from the original programmers in the code that was stolen. So.
We were watching the other night. I was watching. It's the first time I watched it. The Cord killers. What was it, Nick? Or Tim?
Yeah, cord killers.
Yeah. And it made a lot of sense. People are doing it. And here is something. ABC shows are available for free to anybody with antenna on the day and time they're first broadcast. But if you want them at any other time, it is getting harder to see them unless you pay someone. The network had previously made free ad-supported streamed version of its shows available on its website the day after they aired. But now they're shifting that back to a week. Next day streaming is still available if you have a cable or Hulu Plus subscription, showing the extent to which broadcast networks are dependent on subscribe fees. So people that want to go and watch it on, being streamed, are not going to be able to watch it anymore the next day. And Spence, I know, does Aaron have cable now?
No.
So he's still using internet.
Yes. In fact, Pam and I were talking about that because with the Alaska adventure coming up, we're deciding, well, depending on where we live, and do we want to have, will we be okay without cable? Well, we have to have internet. Obviously, we have to have access to that just for communication. So would we survive just having internet? Would we be able to do that? So
it's just interesting that they realize that less and less people are using the TV.
And yet the price of cable keeps going up.
Yeah.
Are they
Not
just
everywhere.
trying to say, we have a certain amount of revenue we have to bring in, so let's just keep raising the price on the fewer and fewer people we have?
Because it's not everywhere. In some places, it's going down where there's competition.
Yeah. I don't understand how we can have the competition here and still not see the price go down.
We don't have the competition here.
Well, not like they have in New York. That's true.
With Uverse, it is competition.
Wait, hold on. Are we talking about internet service competition?
We're talking about internet service and cable.
There is no competition here. There is nothing besides Time Warner. Like there is no Uverse. That's not even here.
Ours is spotty.
How much
it's
is
out
your?
there, but it's very hard to get.
Do you know how much your internet service costs?
$75 a month.
That's the same as here, when you get the 30 by 5.
Yeah, but the whole point is like there's no competition here either. It's not just
and the reason
everywhere the Time Warner is, there's no competition.
Uverse is not. Uverse really is not competition for a lot of people. It's okay, and they do have TV and everything. It's actually a little bit more than Time Warner, though. When you look, because we looked at it. And not only that, and the reason why they're not going to lower the price is because they just rolled it out within the last year. They have to recoup a lot of their expenses. If they put it at $20, it's going to take them double the time than if they do it at $40.
It's interesting. In New York, my brother-in-law has switched back and forth on a regular basis because the cable company, Verizon, and I think there's one other competitor in their area, have offered such incredible deals that they pay to end the contract. They actually cover the cost of shutting the contract down to move over to the new service. They've got it down to $99 a month, internet, phone, and cable.
For the first year.
For 2 years.
Okay.
Lock it in for 2 years. And at the end of that 2 years, they threaten to go to somebody else, and they go to somebody else, and a month later they get a call from the original, we want you back for the same price. So the prices, every time they've done this, it's gone down.
Oh. Eric is saying that with YouTube, podcasts, gaming, the networks should be more friendly. It's amazing. I haven't checked before, but for people that do podcasts like Andrew does, like Stephen does, like I do here, that we broadcast 24/7. It's great for some people to, I want to go and look at this, I want to go and look at that. But there is no way that I can do this if there were caps. There would be absolutely no way. The other day, Mike was saying, did you check your usage on Time Warner? And I said, no, I could never get in there. I couldn't figure out how to do this. So he walked me through it. And I went in and I saw it was, I think, on January 2nd. And it said 22 gigabytes. I said, wow, I'm using a lot. If it's so far that much. I looked at December. And it was over 3.5 terabytes. I don't know. Is anybody here anywhere where they have caps on data? Anybody in the chat?
Well, AT&T and UVerse, DSL has 150 gigabyte. UVerse has 250 gigabyte. But I've had discussions with a couple of people that swear and declare that they're not being enforced.
I'm wondering places where it is enforced. What is the? So are we saying that 200 to 300 is the average cap?
I don't know of anyone that's getting hit by cap, but I imagine it's out there. Jorvik says cable internet access seems expensive here compared to the UK. I'm not positive about this, but I'm pretty sure that these places like UK, Korea, where it's quote-unquote so cheap, it's actually supplemented by the government. So they screw you on taxes, and then they give it back to you on the internet.
Yeah, I wonder when North Carolina is going to start taxing internet usage.
Shh, they just blew it.
They will now that they can tax services. I'm sure they will.
Well, they've always been able to. They've just now done it. They've always had the power.
They had the power, but services were never taxed, sales tax in North Carolina. What?
I understand.
Yeah. Mike, this is something that I need your input in here also. Where is it? What could have been entering the public domain in the U.S. on January 1st, 2014? Under the law that existed until 1978, works from 1957, the books on the road, Atlas Shrugged, Empire of the Atom, and The Cat in the Hat, the films The Incredible Shrinking Man, The Bridge on the River Kwai, The 12 Angry Men, the article Theory of Superconductivity, the songs All Shook Up and Great Balls of Fire, and more. What does that mean? Does that mean that these things are going into the public domain, really?
I haven't read the article, but what happened was there have been some aberrations in copyright law through the years, and there are some bubbles in the timeline and the way things work that theoretically some things are falling through the cracks. It's the chart that you have to follow to figure out that information is very complicated. I would never attempt to give you the dates and times and all that, but under careful scrutiny, there are some things that theoretically will fall into the public domain. You may recall that a number of years ago, Mickey Mouse was about to fall into the public domain, and Disney got the government to change the laws to protect Mickey Mouse. So I don't know. I would not, I absolutely would never trust a journalist to give me that that information. I would do my own investigation if I were going to assume that something has dropped into the public domain. I would have to have independent confirmation. I would never trust a newspaper writer or a magazine writer.
I mean, if I write a song.
Forget that before you just said it. If
Yeah.
you write it now, the laws are different than they were back when those were done. The problem is that there has been a lack of continuity in certain bubbles. You remember hearing about the Social Security bubble, people born between a certain month and year and another certain month and year were not getting certain benefits because the inconsistencies in the law?
No, but I'll take your word that you know what you're talking about.
Same sort of thing here. There's some aberrations in the law that are being focused on.
So no, but let me finish. If I write a song today, it's copyrighted, right?
Correct.
For how long?
Well, it depends. It depends if you write it as an individual. It's the life of the individual plus 50 years or 75 years or
Okay.
something. It's a long, long time.
Okay.
As long as you renew it at 35 years and some other stuff.
Okay, so, and if somebody wrote it in 1950, it's different?
The laws were different at the time, but the laws have been amended along the way to change how those are treated.
And
So, I mean, again, I'm not going to attempt.
no,
to
I
give
understand. I understand.
that
I'm
information.
talking in general. I mean, here is the song, "All Shook Up." Let's say that it is about to fall into the public domain. Can't the right holder go and renew it?
No.
You cannot
No,
renew.
no.
Okay.
No. But also keep in mind that it gets dramatically more complicated than even what you're bringing up, because there was a period of time during which if you through no fault of your own, if a song through no fault of yours was, let me say it again. There are things that could happen along the way prior to 1978 that if you published a song without the copyright notice, if you distributed it without the copyright notice, then that immediately fell into the public domain. And once it fell into the public domain, it could not be retrieved. Then there was also the issue, for example, of the like whenever the British invasion hit, we had all this foreigner music coming into the United States and their laws being different from ours. Then there was harmonization through the Berne Convention, and it's been a very complicated, rocky road on copyright law. And to find that there are going to be some aberrations in it is not a surprise at all. What I'm saying is I'm not well read on this issue of this particular time span of things falling into the public domain, but I don't know. There have been some statutes passed that have allowed people to reclaim their copyrights, to extend their copyrights, have automatically extended those copyrights. But once it falls into the public domain, as far as I know, it cannot be reclaimed. But you're getting into brain surgery on some of that stuff.
All right. Well, I was just wondering how can things like this, I mean, unless somebody really ignores it, the right owner is ignoring it and it falls into public domain, because I thought that you can always go and extend it, say, hey, I'm still here. Hey, Nick, are you using Snapchat?
I have an account. I don't really use it, but I have an account.
That article goes, Snapchat users' phone numbers may be exposed to hackers due to an unresolved security vulnerability. What'd you say?
Yeah, mine was.
Wow. According to a
it's
new
not a big deal.
report released by a group of Australian hackers, Snapchat is a social media program that allows users to send pictures to each other that disappear within 10 seconds. Users can create profiles with detailed personal information and add friends that can view the photos a user shares. But Gibson Security, a group of anonymous hackers from Australia, Gibson Security, has published a new report with detailed coding that they say shows how a vulnerability can be exploited to reveal phone numbers of users as well as their privacy settings. But that happens to other networks also. Maybe not with the phone number, because the phone number was not important at that point. But passwords...
I was listening to something, and, you know, everybody's making this big stink about Snapchat giving away phone numbers. Is that really that big of a deal?
I don't think so.
Is it a big deal now that somebody has your phone number?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, every telemarketer has your phone number.
Yeah.
It's not hard to find your phone number. It's a simple Google search away.
Right.
I mean, how big of a deal is it that somebody has your phone number?
You're right.
For me, it's not. Who cares? I mean, it's no different than you having my Skype name.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's a way to contact me. I list my phone number publicly. I mean, I just don't think that's not something that I think that people should go sit back and say, oh, you know, we're going to boycott this service because they leaked our phone numbers. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. You know, if it was, you know, unhacked passwords, then yeah, maybe I think that's definitely a reason. But phone numbers, public domain phone numbers, no, I don't think so.
There's no security.
What do you mean?
I mean, what I'm saying is that if you assume that all these free websites operated by kids out of their basements are going to have top-grade security to protect your passwords and user information, you're a fool.
Of course. This is a service that sends pictures and I don't know. I just don't think this is a big deal.
Well, I mean, again, if you use your banking password for social media, you're kind of asking for it anyways.
But it wasn't password. Passwords weren't leaked. It was just phone numbers.
I guess
No, I was
Mike
speaking
is talking
generically
in general.
about
Oh, okay.
all social media sites. I'm not even familiar with this story other than what Amnon has said.
Are you using that other one? What did they call it? Something app?
Not familiar with something app.
Shoot. I threw it away. Oh, no, here.
I mean, I have accounts on all these services just because.
You can.
Yeah, because I can. Then I can register my username.
No, I did. I already threw it away. You weren't here when I was talking about the teenagers are getting away from Facebook.
That's been a trend for years now.
Why?
Because adults, grandparents, parents are on it.
Where are they going?
Oh.
Reddit?
No, Reddit's not a social media site really. It's mostly just Twitter and Instagram, I think.
Instagram.
Yeah, the picture site.
Owned by Facebook.
Yeah.
Someone has suggested that Snapchat was really, I don't know whether it was designed for this, but it's the perfect app for sexting. So are you confessing something, Nick? Due to the fact that the pictures only available for 10 seconds, it makes it an ideal app for some nefarious activity.
Well, that was when this thing gained popularity. Was it maybe 6-7 months ago now? I mean, it's been pretty recent. That was the big thing. Was, you know, just like anything else, you upload a picture to Facebook and then delete it. It's still on their servers somewhere, right? I mean, that picture is cached somewhere, and it's the same thing with Snapchat. So, in the beginning, I think people thought about that, but then once you realize that it doesn't just upload your file for 10 seconds and then it disappears, poof, it's gone. I don't think so.
Yeah, those pictures are always somewhere and can be retrieved somehow.
Mm-hmm. Unless something happens, I mean, unless they're not doing backups and that server hard drive crashes, then that's it. But I mean, for the most part, that stuff is going to be backed up every time.
All somebody's got to do is press the home and power button and do a screenshot of the picture that you sent. Only lasts for 10 seconds. I mean, I think there were a lot of people surprised one day when they're doing job interviews and find the HR person saying, "Excuse me,
Is this
remember that, Andrew?"
I think that this is going to be something interesting that I think this is going to be a big deal for my generation. Is there's people on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter that will, they'll post pictures of pot and stuff like that, and I think it's going to be interesting in. Let's see, I'm almost 7. I think it'll be interesting in 5-10 years when people are gonna settle down and could go and try to go into a career, and all this stuff is gonna come back up. I think it's gonna be really interesting.
But if it's 10 years, we old fellers will be out of the way, and you new guys will think it's normal to have all that crap in your background.
Well, I wouldn't. In 10 years, it won't be like that. But I mean, maybe in 20 or 30 years, it will. But I mean, I think it's going to be a really interesting thing. In 10 years, when somebody sits down at a job interview and they're met with a PDF printout of all these pictures of them getting high at parties and drinking underage. I think that's going to be a really interesting thing that happens.
Well, but if everybody's doing it, Nick, then the boss is looking at that stuff and goes, "Well, I did that too. Yeah, ha ha ha. That's the way it was. It was a different time back then."
Yeah, but the boss may have done
didn't
that.
Inhale.
It, it wasn't there for everybody to see.
Yeah, I'm just being a devil's advocate here.
I
think it's.
I mean, it might not be a big deal at all. It might, it might 10 years down the line, like you said, Mike. People may not even care. But
the way marijuana's going, nobody's going to know.
Yeah, it's
well,
just,
man.
Spence, Amnon, Mike, and I have already reserved our cryogenic tubes, and one day we'll come back and we'll say
Not
to
me.
Nick, "We're back."
Not me.
Not you.
Not me. When I'm gone, dude, I'm gone. Over. Quit.
Oh. You don't want to have your ashes scattered on one of Jupiter's moons or something like that?
No.
By the way, Nick, Jim
Yes.
Bundy is saying it's called WhatsApp. You familiar with that?
no, never heard of it.
Yeah.
So let's see. Eric Timer and other people in chat are saying that they've disabled screenshots, but there's apps for workarounds for that.
Sure. Whatever you can disable, somebody can enable.
Yeah.
Yeah, my wife is she has about 4 websites she stays on a lot and plays. She's gotten into this word game thing that, oh, Mom, that's so passé, but she enjoys doing it. She was going to a site trying to copy, and the site would not let her do a cut and paste. She wanted to copy some things into a Word document to save it. And I showed her how to turn off JavaScript, and all of a sudden it works. Like, this is a challenge.
Nick, there's a question for you from Gene.
Xbox One is in a kid's hand, and how do you protect them? I'm not sure.
Why do you think it's scary?
Yeah, that's why would that be? Why would that be any different than a computer or a phone?
I think the internet's dangerous.
Let's close it.
Well, they got a switch to do that.
So what are we going to tap into that switch? Or are we going to build our own?
I see some of the stuff I posted when I was sick. I probably ought to have it turned off.
Yeah, we'll go back to CB radios and 100-watt kickers in our trunks.
Yeah. Gene is saying they are the same, like phone and stuff, but with more attraction.
Yeah, I don't know, Gene. I'm not following along either.
Jervik, what do
Yeah,
you mean it's
I'm not-
impossible to switch the internet? All you have to, it's a couple of EMPs up there, and
Well, it wouldn't just be the internet; it would be
oh
technology
yeah, absolutely,
as a
yeah,
whole.
it'll be everything.
yeah.
Just don't let the kids put peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in the DVD player. I don't know. That's some of the ones I've seen. That's probably going to improve them.
Peanut butter will help clean your scratch discs.
Gene, you can call in so we can understand your questions better.
Yeah.
Computers 2K Voice on Skype or 919-518-9773.
Oh, so my Skype issue this morning. So I got up at like 9:30, and I called once, and nothing happened. So I was like, maybe it's just a Skype issue. I signed out, signed back in. Then I went downstairs to get a cup of coffee, and came back upstairs, same thing. So I then I sent it in chat, and I got your call fine, but it was the thing where you click the call button, you get the initial dialing sound, but it just never rang. And it just said, would you like to leave a video message? I don't know if that was my end, your end, or a Skype issue.
I don't know. I don't understand it. I mean, because I just went ahead and I invited you, and it worked fine.
Yeah.
That's something that's happened to me too, Nick. And what I do is I just turn around and redial and usually get through the second or the third time.
Yeah, I dialed like 4 or 5 times, and it just still...
Yeah, why should
it's
it
the same
take more
thing.
than once?
I don't know.
Interesting.
Issues with Skype. Why should Skype quality go from full HD to 133K?
Avoid United Airlines. Arnie had a horrible experience flying there. Well, you're going to have a bad experience with all of them at one time or another. I think they're as bad as the rest. I bet right now, if you're flying anywhere right now with all the weather issues out there, I bet you would be real easy to hate on the airlines.
I can say that, yeah, I agree with what you're saying. The last 2 times that I've had, flight cancellations and misconnecting flights and everything with U.S. Air, they have performed stellar for me in Charlotte in rebooking me and rerouting me, getting me switched to other airlines and stuff like that. So I may not be that way with other airlines everywhere, but U.S. Air has been really good. And now U.S. Air and American, they're the number one largest airline there is right now, and they've been posting pictures this week of their new color schemes on their planes, the tail flag. So hopefully we'll get some more flight options, some of these smaller airports.
Listen to that, our great state of North Carolina. A city councilman in Indian Trail Town, North Carolina, has resigned and opted to write his letter of resignation in Klingon. David Waddell is obviously a fan of Star Trek. I wonder if the other council members know what the hell he wrote. Would you say that's a serious councilman?
It's a new generation, Amnon. Get used to it. He's probably smoked up.
Oh, boy.
What about specials?
Spence isn't here.
Spence is.
Then you do them, Nick.
There's a good sale on hard drives. That's all
Where?
the specials for today.
Nah, he'll be back for the spare. I'm sure he will.
So I've had my Chromebook for 2 weeks now, or a little over a week now, and I'm liking it. It's a good add-on device for sure.
A what?
Yep.
Add-on device.
Yeah.
So, like, I use it a lot of the time when I'm here at my computer to quickly do a Google search instead of having to, like if I'm playing a game or something, I normally would have to Alt tab out of the game to do a search.
Right.
And it's nice that I can just do it on the Chromebook without having to, stop what I'm doing on my normal computer.
Yeah, I mentioned this last week, but this week's business trip that starts tomorrow morning will be a Chromebook-only trip, leaving the Dell Latitude at home. And it's funny, we've got a really great technical team here at the church where I'm backstage right now, and two of our guys made the cover of Church Production Magazine, which is an industry standard magazine for large churches in lighting, technicing, stage management, mics, audio, video, all that kind of stuff. And one of the guys, Mike, was walking backstage here, and I'm sitting at a round table. I got my Samsung Galaxy Note 2 with a dongle plugged into it, the ATR 2100 plugged into an XLR card, my ears that I use for playing on stage plugged into another part of the dongle, and my Chromebook open up here monitoring the chat. And he stopped and he looked and he just shook his head. He just said, "Bruce." So yeah, the Chromebook is great. In fact, you got the C720, right, Nick?
Yep.
Yeah, Jeff Zahas, who has the C720, he did the Ubuntu install, and of course because he's got the Haswell processor, he was able to install Skype on it, and because he communicates with his parents a lot through Skype. But that would be my next purchase, to get one with an Intel processor, so that I could not be limited with any Linux apps that aren't compiled for the ARM processor that I'm using right now.
I did the Linux thing, and
Mm-hmm.
I just don't use it. It's such a pain to get to it. It's not even worth it.
A pain to get to
The Linux side. There's like 5 keyboard commands you have to do to go from Chrome OS to
Well,
Linux.
if you're completely shutting down, you have to do those steps. But if you're just letting it sleep, you can get back to it pretty easy.
Like for me to go from, I have to start it first, then I have to do Control-Alt forward, Control-Alt refresh, and then type in my password to get to Linux. It's not worth it every time. It's such a pain. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but, trying to go between applications.
and once you are there, what does it take to go? You cannot just switch back and forth real quick.
Going back is easy. Getting to Linux is the pain.
And then when you want to go, if you go to the Linux side and then you want to go back to the Chrome OS and back into Linux, you have to go through the same thing all over?
Yeah, it's like 5 keyboard commands to go from Linux to Chrome back to Linux.
It's Control, Alt, Shift, and the right arrow or the left arrow. It's really easy.
It's more steps on the Chromebook, on the C720. When you do that, when you do the Control Alt Shift forward key, you get a CMD, or not a CMD, a terminal, and then you have to do Control Alt Shift refresh to actually pull up the GUI. It's definitely I don't know. I haven't used it since I installed it. I'll probably keep it on here in case I need it, but I haven't gone out of the Chrome OS. I really don't have anything that I need to do on the Windows side. Or the Linux side. I just decided I'll use webmail.
Yeah, I took it off on my Samsung Series 3, but I uploaded my intro and outro and background track for my podcast to Google Drive. Then I use a Chrome OS app called Remo, and I created a playlist. And then I'll be using twistedwave.com/online to do my podcast this week. Offline Google Docs works fine.
I haven't really used it yet, but I imagine it works pretty well. I'll have to do testing with it tomorrow when I'm back at school.
Yeah, I'll be speaking Wednesday, and so I've already got the beginnings of a PowerPoint presentation and some notes in a Google Doc and a Google Slide. And I'll be able to work on that offline, and then next time I go online, it'll update the changes.
You hope.
No, I pray.
Okay, you pray. With the release of Windows 8.1 to the world in October, Microsoft ended 2013 with 2 full months of availability for its latest operating system version. While Windows 8.1 is certainly growing quickly and eating into Windows 8's share, they're treating them like 2 different operating systems. The Duo has only now been able to pass 10% market share, while Windows 7 seems to be plowing forward unaffected. The latest market share data from Net Applications shows that Windows 8 and 8.1 made steady progression in December 2013, gaining a combined 1.19% points from 9.30 to 10.49. More specifically, Windows 8 gained 0.23 percentage point, while Windows 8.1 jumped 0.96 percentage point. Windows XP falls below 30%. So Windows 7 rules right now. Ain't that something? Hello? 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 So, what toys did any of you got for the New Year, Christmas, that you decided, nah, it's not what it was all cut out to be?
Well, let's see. I got a Hero GoPro 3 camera I haven't taken out of the box yet.
Oh, well, never mind then. I can't believe you.
How can you get something
I know.
and not take it out of the box yet? Man, I take it out of the box as soon as I
Who
get
gave it to you, Mike?
My wife.
And you insult her by not even opening it?
That's not insult her. She knows that that's not an insult.
I thought if you don't open a present right there, where
The present, I just haven't played with the camera yet. I mean,
okay.
this we know that it's an awesome thing. I mean, it's the question is what will be the appropriate use for it. I don't know yet, and I'm excited about it. But it's been a very busy time of the year. A lot's been going on, and then once I got sick, which I did get sick about a week ago, the time that I was going to use to get a lot of things done, including a lot of things put up here, didn't happen.
will it happen now?
It's not going to happen this week. I'm struggling to get through.
Strap it onto the handlebars of your Harley or your hang glider.
Okay, I'll have to go get one. Maybe that's what I need to do is take up hang gliding.
I don't understand why you just don't take it out and play with it a little bit.
I just got my i7 installed, Nick. I had it since March.
Yeah, but that
I
is a
bought
big
way
thing.
too much stuff in the last 30 days.
This is what you need to do. This is how you're going to do your videos.
Well, I mean, I've actually done some research to find out what cameras guys are using for YouTube because as I've been sick, I've been sitting here watching a lot of YouTube videos and probably 2 or 3 times and not realizing it. But some of these guys have stellar video. One guy that I was watching, in fact, I had it turned on this morning. I sent him a message on YouTube asking him what camera he used. And he's already written back and told me, and I'd forgotten what he said. One guy is using a Nikon J3, which is not which is not a video camera. It's a DSLR that also does video. It does just amazingly excellent video work. And but this guy, in fact, I got to go look back through it, see what I can find. No, my interests have been rechanneled somewhat in that I'm quite interested in woodworking right now, and I'm spending a lot of time learning about that, and am quite impressed with a lot of the video on YouTube, with the quality of the video as well as the craftsmanship. I think it's becoming, to some extent, a lost art. I have to find it, but I've got a somewhere on here. I've got too many links open. Got too much junk. But I meant to look up the camera model and see what it is, because I'm hoping what I'm getting to, the point I'm rambling about is I'm thinking the GoPro 3 probably will do about anything I wanted it to do. Whenever it first came out, there was a discussion that it only did fisheye, but then I heard that was not true. It just has a very broad, very wide lens on it.
Well, it is fisheye still.
And bottom line is, if it doesn't do what I want it to do, I'll take it back and get something else. And she's okay with that. I mean, she doesn't want me to have something that won't do what it wants. But
so, did you plan on doing YouTube videos with it?
I don't know. I mean, I plan to do quite a few things with it, and if it's useful for recording YouTube videos, I don't know that I'm going to do any YouTube videos, but I've got some things up my sleeve that I haven't talked about, and I may not talk about because I may not do them. But I have some other business interests that could be complemented by that particular camera. And, I mean, you insiders know what some of it is, but, I mean, it's just all in me trying to learn. I'm not a video guy. I still, and Nick, I was going to talk to you about it at some point. I still don't understand how these guys take a Nikon J3 camera, record video, and then how they edit it, get it to YouTube in 1080p. Every time I've tried to edit video, it always locks and freezes up, and the computer's not powerful enough. I've got an i7 with 16 gig of memory and an SSD, and I still have mixed results. That when it seems like when I've tried to bring it into Final Cut or something to try to edit, I always end up going backwards. Or what is this other Vegas, Sony Vegas Studio Pro?
Yep.
And somehow it ends up having to, not thinking clearly, tell me again, whenever you're going to render it, and it ends up looking like crap. And I'm just
have to re-render.
I'm just having terrible luck with video. And it's because I'm doing something wrong. I just don't know what it is yet. And we'll get there in due time.
You will get there. You're meticulous.
Yeah. Yeah, Brad Stagg says that I'm overly anal about these things.
Overly is not a strong enough word.
Well, what's wrong with that?
I don't know. I mean,
you tell me.
You need to start somewhere. You can't produce the first one that will be perfect. You're going to have to do it, and you're going to have to put it out there and see what people say and learn from what people say, and then you take it a step further and a step further and a step further. And, it's no big deal if you put something out there that is not a masterpiece. Because if you put a masterpiece out there, there's only one way after that, is down.
See, Mike, what's the thing that I think you're having the issue with is that, you're looking at the woodworking guys that have got thousands of dollars in camera equipment, and I mean, I imagine if you look at their first videos, they're probably using either a phone or a webcam to do it.
Oh, no doubt. I'm not intimidated by that in the least. What I'm intimidated by is I've got all you brainiacs who know all this stuff, and somehow I'm not able to get you to explain it to me so that I can understand it.
Yeah, but I wouldn't call myself a brainiac with video editing. I know the very basics of it. I can figure it out. I mean, you don't have to know it all to cut and
I translate
audio
things
behind it
into audio terms that I understand, and what happens is people get an MP3 file, they expand it into a WAV file, edit it, and then recompress it to an MP3. Mm-hmm. The second file is nowhere near the quality of the first file because you have compressed it twice. That's what I understand absolutely and unequivocally. What happens in video is you record in AV, CD, HD, 1, 2, 3, whatever it is. Then when you bring it into the editing program, it has to transcode for that editing program. You save it out again, and to me, it has followed the same process. Although I've had people tell me, no, it's not the same.
No, it is.
You can convert between video formats without losing quality.
You can convert, but when you render, or rendering is another word for encoding. When you encode a file, you are losing quality. I mean, I
don't want to lose quality,
but there's no way to not lose quality.
Well, then let's say it this way.
You look at a GFQ show. They record the shows at 10 megabits a second, and then they downscale to I don't know 2
That's
megs.
Intentional.
That's intentional. But the whole point is the only way for you to have the original is to do no editing on it. There's your solution.
Well, I hear what you're saying, but I also know that there are ways of editing it without losing the quality. It's called editing in the native resolution.
Yeah, but I mean, you're going to lose some quality. You're not. I mean,
no.
I record my videos at the 720p. I mean, yeah, of course you're losing quality. You're compressing a file size down for YouTube. That's the other thing. You've only got 5 megs up. You're going to need to compress your files unbelievably because it's going to take you 8 hours to upload a YouTube video.
And what happens after that? Those 8 hours that you upload the YouTube video,
YouTube is going to convert it too.
Exactly.
So, I mean, no matter how good your initial quality is, they're going to compress it to all hell.
I'm just telling you that I'm seeing videos uploaded and recorded by guys who can't even spell. And if they can do it, I can do it because I can spell.
You can do it, but you can't be worried about losing quality when you're not recording anything to test to see if you're losing quality.
It's probably quality that the human eye cannot even tell.
And I don't care about that. I'm not that anal about it.
And that's exactly what you'll see.
I'm saying is I want the workflow that these guys are doing. I don't mean anything disrespectful about them because the ones I'm referring to are master craftsmen.
Then do a 5-minute video and put it there and see what it looked like.
I will.
I mean, you'll get the workflow over time. You'll realize that I've done the YouTube thing a few times now, and I've been staggering with my latest project just because I haven't had as much time to record stuff as I'd like, and it's just the workflow will eventually get there, without a doubt.
Oh, I'll get there because these guys, and it's after 11. We can deviate more than we have, but one of the things that I have found about this woodworking community, I've been in the audio community my whole life. I've been in the broadcasting community my whole life. I've been in the internet community with regard to broadcasting for you started me on it, Amnon. What was it?
A few
4 years now.
Yeah.
Okay, and there's some great people out there in all of these communities. I've never experienced anything like I've experienced in the woodworking community. You wouldn't believe what some of these guys will go out of their way to help and to teach you how to do. And I went over to a guy's shop to get help on a little project, and the guy ends up giving me a bunch of hardwoods. I'll take it. Don't worry about it. It's good. Take it. I mean, just absolute quality people. And
that's all different inside of different YouTube communities.
Well, the
gamers are a bunch of a-holes.
I hate to say this, Nick, because I hate to say this, Nick, because I'll say it publicly. You're a good kid, and I don't mean kid in a derogatory fashion. I mean it as reality.
You hate me.
I hate you, and and you've got good things ahead of you, and I'm glad to have you as a friend, and I mean all that sincerely. But as you know, there are a lot of punks in this little community we revolve in. So I just haven't run into that in the woodworking community.
And you know what? The woodworking community is an older community. That's
exactly
that's the
what
benefit.
I'm getting to is it's a generational thing, I'm afraid, and I'm sorry for that. But
like, I mean, you're not, 11-year-olds are not making YouTube woodworking videos.
Well, some are, but it's a rarity.
Mike, just do it, please. Just do it.
I was going to tell you, Amnon, you'd be proud of me.
Okay.
I've actually, and what Amnon's talking about, and he's sort of halfway kidding, is that I tend to be a perfectionist about things, and that is I want to get it right. And the reason I like to get it right is because I like things that are right. I've seen what happens when you get it right, and I like that. I mean, Tom Merritt, one of the greatest internet broadcasters out there, goes online with his new show and does it as a Google Hangout on air, and the audio quality is terrible.
And 300 people are in his chat room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and it's a success. So who cares? But to me, I comment on the quality, and somebody says, well, why you bring it up? Nobody cares. Okay, well, I care. I mean, it goes back to the Beatles back in 1963. They took meticulous care in recording their songs. 1963, we're talking 51 years ago. Meticulous care to have carefully calibrated equipment, quality microphones, good acoustics. And back in those days, you listened on a 45 RPM record with no quality on an AM radio station. So why did they bother? They bothered because they could. They wanted it to be as good as they could make it. And now 51 years later, we listen to these things, and the quality holds up. That's why I like to get things right. I've seen what it's like when it's right. But what I was going to tell you, Amnon, is that you'd be proud of me, because in trying to learn to do woodworking, which I am not good at, I am absolutely an unequivocal beginner. But that's okay. I'm not complaining. I don't mind. But I've convinced myself now that what I'm doing is I'm making the first one, even if I don't think it's right, mistakes and all. I'm going to make the first one.
There you go.
Just like I'm supposed to make it. If it's useful when I'm done with it, we'll use it. If it's not, we'll burn it in the fireplace.
Right, exactly.
You have to have that attitude about it, because otherwise you'd never make it. You'd never get anywhere. You have to be able to put it together and say, well, the next time I do this, I'll do it this way. And now you've learned the trick, and you've found something you didn't realize before, and another way of doing things. It's just the more you do it, the better you get at it.
What convinced me to have that attitude, and you guys who don't understand this perfectionism stuff, you won't understand what I'm saying, and that's okay. But what taught me that was in this forum that I like to participate in that has these woodworkers in it. I actually went back, and they were helping me with a project. So I went back after I did a project and made a list of what all I learned doing the project. And I mean, some of the mistakes I made, what I would know better to do next time. And just writing that post finally clicked with me. He said, Mike, you didn't know all that stuff when you started. How in the heck can you do it perfectly when you don't have all the information in front of you? And sometimes the only way you're going to get that, there are only two ways of getting, well, not only two. There are two ways of getting information. One is that somebody can teach you, and I have no one to teach me these things. My father was not a woodworker. There's been no woodworkers in the family. I'm in a town where I really don't know anyone until recently who does this sort of thing. So the second thing is I have to teach myself. Now, a subset of teaching myself is reading books, magazines, articles, websites, blog posts, YouTube videos. What I have learned, and this is technically related, and what I have learned is that there are some very, very dangerous YouTube videos out there. My son, who is 27, is getting interested in woodworking, and I've sent him things to watch and to learn, and so like I'm doing, it's kind of a parallel experience. I have now gone back to him and told him, be very careful what you watch. And I'm now going to try to, when I see techniques that are dangerous, like taking the board, pushing the board across the jointer and holding it down with your hand, is probably the second dumbest thing you can do. The other is to stand in the line of kickback with a table saw. And and when it comes to using power tools, I told him even in the last week, I said, before you ever start using one of these, I said, you're going to have to convince me that I'm rambling. What I'm trying to say is, before I would ever agree or support you using a table saw, you've got to be able to explain to me in very good detail what causes kickback and how to avoid it. Until then, you leave it alone. You do not have enough information. You're exposing yourself to a lot of danger. And again, you hear these things and you post a safety concern on a YouTube video, and the people in the chat will the comments will jump all over you. Oh, you're one of those safety geeks. Here you go. Don't ever walk out of your house. A meteor is liable to hit you. I just read that yesterday. The reality is that in this news group, we were talking about some safety things, and a guy who actually I have met is just one of us. He gets along great. He's a good guy.
Got hit by a meteor.
Huh?
Got hit by a meteor.
No.
Go ahead.
Close to it though. He said he commented later on in the thread. He said, "Yeah." He said, "A few years ago, I ignored this advice and spent 8 days in the hospital as a result of it." So it happens. It is a real world thing.
Yeah.
And I think to be smart, you just need to try to use some common sense. But unfortunately, common sense is just not too common anymore.
You know, it's funny. I had my first experience of cutting myself on a moving blade only about 3 years ago.
Ooh.
And it was a wake-up call, and I had to get stitches in my finger. Well, I was lucky. The way I put the blade into my finger, it wasn't that I was cutting it off. It was like into the long part of my finger, so I was very lucky. But it was my uncle, who is now deceased, was an avid woodworker, made made all the furniture in his house that he could make, all his cabinets, all that he did himself. But he was in his 60s when he had a really bad cut. He almost cut his finger off with a saw. And he said, I'm doing this for 50 years now, and it was a wake-up call because I just got complacent.
See, Dan says that recently a neighbor whacked off 2 fingers with a table router.
And look what Jeff is saying.
Jeff Zayas cut himself with a DSL router.
DSL router, yeah, that's right.
Where's the rim shot? Anyway, and the strange thing about it is that a router can be a very safe tool if you use. Don't ever get your. We don't want to go into all this woodworking stuff, but don't ever get your hand with closer than 8 inches to a blade. And you go on YouTube, you will see the pros violated all the time. In fact,
they say they do it in the interest of clarity, so you can look at what's happening through the safety guards. But
it's a lie.
Look at Norm on the old house shows, or Norm Abrams' shop, right? He never used the guards.
No, and the reality is, based on the research that I have done, that those guards are only marginally effective anyway. There's no guard. There's no anti-kickback, Paul. There's nothing that's going to take the place of common sense and care.
Spence, do you have specials?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we need to
Before
get out
you do that, though,
Oh.
I want to answer a question. Arnie was asking a question about some best woodworking instructional video. It's an unlimited number of them out there, Arnie, but I wanted to tell everybody here, I wanted to point you to a guy on YouTube that I know, Spence, I know you will be fascinated by this guy if you're not familiar with him. I'm going to post a link to his YouTube channel in chat right now, and if you're not in chat, his name is Matthias Wandel. It's spelled Mattias, Matthias Wandel, Wandel. I don't know I don't know who he is. His website is woodgears.ca. Woodgears with an S.ca. He's out of Canada. I tried to figure out what his shtick is, but in reality, he's actually an inventor. He comes up with some of the most novel ways to accomplish things. They happen to be in woodworking, but the reality is the thought process applies to just about anything in life. For example, I watched last night. Has any of you heard of Gorilla Glue?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Have you seen where it expands to fill the gaps and provides? You don't have to be careful with it. You wet it and all that.
It's good and bad.
It is worthless, totally worthless. He has a video called "Gorilla Glue Sucks at Filling Gaps," and I want you to watch that video because he actually sets up a scale and a jack and some things. He does scientific testing to show why it is no good. But he goes into some other things too. He goes into the second one I would have you watch is called Table Saw Blade Sharpening Jig. Table saw blade sharpening jig. Not because you're interested in sharpening table saw blades. That's not the point. I want you to watch it to watch this guy's thought process and how creative he is. He's amazing, absolutely amazing. He does some kickback experience, but anyway. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I still have a book called The Engineer's Handbook it was published in like 1927.
Yeah.
And it is a thick green volume filled with mostly algebra and trigonometry for engineers. How to calculate the pitch of a screw, how to make a screw from scratch on a lathe.
I don't need any of these.
Just lost.
I don't need any of these. If I need to do anything, I just go and stay at a Holiday Inn Express, and that's it. Do we have specials?
Yes, sir. We do. Would you like to hear them?
Yes, please. Everybody here is begging for them.
All right. We have, interestingly enough, for some reason, Tiger Direct still has no weekly ad. And if you go to their website, there isn't even a way to find. They must have put everybody on vacation or something after Christmas because there's nothing there. Their deals of the day are a personal blender and a rotary spice carousel. So, not sure what's going on with Tiger Direct, but I digress. Staples, they've got Staples brand as well as other brand PNY USB drives on sale. They've got 8 gig for $699, 16 gig for $999, 32 gig for $1799. Staples brand, only the 16 gig is slightly cheaper. It's like $1 cheaper. So all the prices are pretty comparable. Microsoft 4000 ergonomic keyboard, $34.99. That's 15 off. A touchscreen laptop starting at $349.99. Windows 8 tablet starting from $249.99. Got a Logitech MK520 keyboard and mouse combo, wireless keyboard and mouse combo, $39.99, save $20. Netgear N300 dual band router, $44.99. I think that's I think that's not correct. I don't believe that's a dual band router. I think that's a mistake in the ad. The N300 router is typically a single band, but either way, the price that's the standard price.
I'm sorry, what router is it?
That's an Netgear N300.
Oh, okay.
So, but it's still, that's the one I always recommend to people to get. That's very reasonably priced. It works really well in most houses. It's it's up to date on the standard. It's got a 4-port switch. I've got a couple of them.
Okay. There's one issue with it that I've experienced. You want to be careful about if it's important to you. They have, if you do remote management, they're now requiring HTTPS, and the certificate on it is expired, and it will not load a 256-bit certificate. So it's horribly slow if you decide to do remote management through the router.
Yeah, but in most home environments, people aren't going to be,
well, that's why I said if it's important to you.
Yeah. If that's the case, yes. Epson Wireless Expression Small-in-One Printer, scanner, copier with duplex printing for $99, save $50. 1 terabyte Seagate portable backup drive, $69.99, save $20. That's all at Staples. At Office Depot, they've got a Brother wireless printer, scanner, fax copier. This is an inkjet printer with two-sided printing, duplex, $69.99, save $30. Pretty much the standard sale price. They seem to have this on sale at least half the time. But it's a very good printer for the money. Relatively inexpensive ink cartridges, easy to refill. CyberPower 825 VA, which translates into 450 watts. Battery backup, $54.99, save 10. Logitech HD Pro C920 webcam. This is a very good webcam. I'm using it right now. $69.99. Well, I take that back. $79.99. 10.1-inch Asus 2-in-1 laptop tablet. Now, this is one it's similar to the larger one. They just the 21.5 inch. It's almost double the size. But this is a convertible tablet. You can attach the keyboard, take the keyboard off. It's a full-time tablet. $329.99, save 20. Lenovo 23-inch touchscreen Idea Center, all-in-one PC, $599, save 200. Western Digital MyCloud network attached storage, 2 terabytes for $149.99, 3 terabytes for $179.99. And a Dell i3 15.6-inch touchscreen laptop for $399.99, $150. All of that is at Office Depot. At Best Buy, they've got the Amazon Kindle HDX. I'm sorry, this is the new Kindle with the higher resolution screen. It's probably the best price I've seen out there, $199.99, save $30. That was not on sale during the holiday season. Chromecast, they've dropped that $5, $29 for the Chromecast. It is limited. I had some questions over the holidays from relatives about whether it was worth it to use it, and it's really only now the apps, I think, of YouTube and Netflix. And you're able to put whatever's in your Chrome browser you can put up on screen, but the resolution suffers.
Yep.
But for streaming Netflix and YouTube, it works rather well for $29. They'll get more apps out there. It is limited, however, to wireless. So if wireless is an issue, then you might want to look at Roku.
Yeah, you have to have wireless. You have to have Wi-Fi at home.
Yes, you have to have Wi-Fi. You cannot use it any other way. Right. Cannot connect it via wired networking, which tends to solve some issues. Let's see, where was I here?
Chromecast.
Asus 15.6-inch touchscreen laptop, $349.99. Asus 21.5 inch, this is the one we talked about before. Portable, touchscreen, all-in-one, $699.99, save $80. It comes with a wireless keyboard and mouse and can be used straight as a tablet. It'll work just like a regular tablet. It does not require the keyboard and mouse. It gives you full Windows 8 tablet function. 20-inch HD LED monitor for $89.99. This has got to be the deal of the day at Best Buy. 24-inch Insignia LED monitor for $109.99. It's $90 off the regular price. I guess it's a clearance item. And finally, Seagate 2 terabyte backup plus hard drive, $89.99. That's at Best Buy. At Office Max, Dell 15.6-inch i3 laptop for $359.99, save $90. Lenovo 17.3-inch laptop, $369.99, save $80. A Logitech MK550 wireless keyboard and mouse combo, $59.99. This is the ergonomic. They call it the wireless wave. $20 off. Toshiba 1 terabyte portable USB drive for $59.99. That's $35 off the regular price. They've got a Lenovo AMD E2 desktop tower PC, no monitor, for $229.99, save $90. They've got a Logitech wireless solar keyboard. So if you're into that kind of thing, it's $69.99. And finally, this is also a very good deal. If you require gigabit networking, this is not for you, but for most people, this will do just fine. Netgear 10100 5-port switch. This is the metal body switch. You can stand on this thing. I've got several of them. $19.99 at Office Max. And that's it. Again, no Tiger Direct today, unless you're interested in getting a Spice Carousel.
You are serious, aren't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I can show you the page. It says weekly special. To click on that, you're supposed to go and put in your zip code and select a store, and they're all labeled. It says no circular available. So you go to look. The only thing they have is you can sign up for the deal of the day, which in this case was a portable blender and the spice carousel. And you can go and browse through just overstock items or warehouse prices or whatever, but there is no sale circular today, not even online. So like I said, I think they, after the holidays, maybe they didn't do so good and they furloughed everybody. I don't know.
Out smoking marijuana.
Could be. They're all in Colorado, I think. That's why.
In fact, this discussion earlier today was helpful because I'm now beginning to understand something. I have a bunch of Gmail email addresses, and I regularly get emails like the one I just got. Greetings and welcome to Delphi Forums. With your Delphi Basic membership, you can participate in existing forums or create your own. You also get a member profile you can fill out with your background and da-da-da-da-da. Here's your member name and here's your password. I haven't registered for this. People don't even know their own email addresses. I've tried to understand how it is that people can fat finger their own email address so many times, and they're smoked up. That's what it is. They're smoking marijuana and entering email addresses, and they forget to put the numbers after it, because I got the good one. They got the crappy ones with the numbers after it. I had an argument with a lady because I kept getting her emails, and I finally emailed her. I found her email address, and I said, why do you keep using my email address? Well, no, this is my email address. No, it's not your email address. No, it's my email address. No, it's my email address. And finally she stopped and looked at it, and her email address had a 313 at the end of the name, and mine does not. Mine's just the name. And she said, oh, sorry about that. So now when I get her emails, I forward them to her. I get all her airline stuff and everything, all her hotel stuff.
I had the same thing happen with a woman in Seattle. I was getting her appointment confirmations to get her car service at the Honda dealer. I was getting her subscription information about Smithsonian Magazine. So I found her on Facebook, and I sent her a private message on Facebook, very polite, saying, look, we have very similar email addresses, and yours is very close to mine, but you got to stop registering places and putting in the wrong email address.
How did she take it?
She never got back to me, but I stopped getting, so she probably was embarrassed and just didn't say anything. So I figured the next time I get an invitation to do something, I can have some fun with it. I warned her.
I mean,
this
come
had
on,
gone
email
on
addresses aren't
I
that
even
hard.
contacted the dealership to say, stop sending me these emails.
Well, what aggravates
not me.
What aggravates me about the process is these people, the banks and the airlines and all that, they send out these emails welcoming me for the new registration from no reply at deltaairlines.com.
So you can't.
You got to log into the website, get to customer service, get on a queue. Wake up, Nick. Get in a queue. And
I'm here.
Yeah, well, and also that they can correct their error.
Yep.
Don't click on it, Gary.
Oh, boy.
So I don't know. I actually went through a company in the UK one time trying to solve a problem. I don't remember why I went to the trouble, but I did.
Done.
I think we need to change all our email addresses to Mike 90210-AF1765431 hike at gmail.com.
Okay, I just did.
You know what's aggravating me though? I've started getting spam for I have a PayPal email address that has never been used anywhere but PayPal.
Mm-hmm.
And I've started getting spam on that email address. It had to come from PayPal.
Yep.
What do you say? Yep. Why do you know about that?
Because I got the same thing.
They hide behind this in the terms of use agreements that says that we are free to share your information with affiliate companies. Mm-hmm. It started with financial institutions when the do not call lists came out. Suddenly, banks started having affiliations with insurance companies, all these other outfits, so that they could share their information. And I got a call on my cell phone yesterday offering to lower the rate on my credit card. It's like, I only have one credit card, which I always pay on time. I don't ever borrow money on it. And it wasn't even my company. So I know my cell phone is on the do not call list, so somebody
It doesn't matter.
and they'll get, that's what they hide behind. Oh, we're affiliated. I got a call from an investment guy the other day wanting to sell me a stock. You filled out a survey. I said, I did not. I don't fill out surveys. Yes, you did. He argued with me. I said, how is this a good way to start a relationship? Are you lying to me? I argued with him for 2 or 3 minutes on the phone. He gave me a hard time. I said, put me on your don't call list. If you call me back, I'm calling the FCC.
Yeah, it scared him to death, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure it did. But I had fun, giving him a hard time, getting him all agitated. Because I'm sure he runs into this all the time.
You have too much time on your hands. I just hang up. They don't call back because they know they're wasting their time. By the way, you haven't called me yet, and I really need to talk.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I apologize. It's been a busy week.
Try to call me sometime later today if you can.
Okay. Yep. I've got an interesting challenge here. Somebody gave me a USB drive that is, well, let's see, I got a good picture of that. 3 of the pins are intact, but 1 is broken off.
Mm.
And so I'm looking now. I haven't taken the shell off to see where this thing is soldered in, but I'm going to attempt to at least get it to work temporarily so I can remove the files from it.
Well, take an old, or take a USB cable, cut it.
Yeah, that's true. Solder it on there. That's right.
Yep.
I could do that. Oh, I got to take the cover off. I'm trying to get the plastic. This is one of those. What was the brand? I guess it was SanDisk or something that had the sliding case where you slid the body of the USB drive slid in and out of the outer case. So it's got this nylon plastic shell around the circuitry that is hiding where that 4th pin is soldered in. So I have to look. The reason it got broken was because it was left in the machine and then dropped or pushed against the wall or something, and it bent the whole connector up. So it looks like it could be. I can see where it was. It's not really even soldered. It looks like it's spot welded. No, it's soldered. It just broke it off, but it looks like I once I expose the inside, I think I could solder it, which would be far easier than
you can do it.
Oh yeah, no, I could. We'll figure it out.
Of course you do.
I like creativity. One of the things I like about this woodworking stuff, it's amazing to see people get creative. That's why that Matthias Wandel thing.
Oh, I was going to tell you, as far as you just do things. My mother, may she rest in peace, was a seamstress.
Wow.
And she I mean, it's never going to school. It's just doing it. When she came down here, when we got married 30-some years ago, we all went to New York to buy material for Kathy's wedding dress. And walked all around, and finally she found it. It was real expensive. But that's what Kathy wanted, so got it. When we got back to Raleigh, it's a big thing in the Jewish tradition when you saw the wedding dress. My mother took the material, put it on the dining room table, and just took a measuring tape. Kathy's mom was also sewing, so she had all that. She took it and she measured her hips and her length and whatever she needed to. She took a pair of scissors and she started cutting the material on the table. All the women's jaws in that room just fell. Because, what? And my mom said, don't worry. And she just kept on cutting and cutting and cutting and cutting and cutting and cutting. And she was done. She set at the sewing machine and she started sewing it. And I mean, it probably didn't take 30 minutes. And there was already something that you could put on Kathy to make adjustments. And that's the thing, what I'm trying to tell you, Mike. Just do it. You remember that unit that you built? And you were asking me about the joints and how it's going to go and how it's going to meet. And I said, I would just put it next to each other and then go and cut it.
Yes, but I persevered and I got it right.
I know. No, I know.
I learned more
Absolutely.
from getting it right than I would have from taking a shortcut.
Absolutely. I know. I understand you perfectly. But that's what I'm talking about. You can take some of that stuff and just do it. And I'll bet you, I mean, look, to be a woodworker and to create this stuff, you can't just do that from a book. You really need to have a...
Sometimes you got to just make sawdust.
You have to have a knack for it and a gift. And if you are so much into it, you do have it. And you'll be surprised what you can do without all these perfect, what am I trying to, joints and that nobody is even looking at. I know you will know, but that's where your anal what's the word?
Anally retentive.
Comes in. That you know that, okay, now it's not perfect here, but the bottom line is when you make things like this is you're not doing it to enter it into competition. You're doing it in order to use.
Well, no. See, I think that's what people miss whenever they comment on my attitude about these things.
Yeah.
I'm doing it more to learn than I am to use. If I just wanted one to use, I'd go out and buy it.
Where is that unit that you built?
At my daughter's apartment.
What, is it being on display, hanging on the wall?
No, it's a freestanding stand.
Yeah.
And it's in one of her rooms, and it's full of junk.
Yeah, there you go. It's being used. You built something.
She could have thrown it in the trash. I wouldn't have cared.
Oh, well, I don't know that you wouldn't care.
That wasn't the point. The point was that the stuff I learned from that were amazing.
I'm looking at this USB device. This is amazing. This is a multi-layer board. This is not just a single-layer board. This is a multi-layer board.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking, well, these contacts, the one that's broken off, all I have to do is
solder it to the end.
Solder it on. Well,
no?
It actually lifted the soldering surface off the face of the board, and there is a tiny hole with a through hole with the remains of a little bit of solder there. But I looked on the other side, and this is a multi-layer board because it doesn't connect anything on the other side. So
that's not surprising.
This could be a challenge.
Well, not necessarily, because you could solder it to that point. I mean, you don't have to.
I'm hoping it's covered with the mask.
There's a USB plug.
You can see that there is I mean, we're talking tiny here. There is a small amount of conductive material left under the mask that I could potentially solder to.
Heck,
the bulk of it, the pad that the actual prong was soldered to,
if you took a USB wire and wired it and soldered it to,
there's nothing to solder it to.
Wait, and soldered it to the ones that are there.
Yep.
And then you open Windows Explorer. And you get ready, and then you take the other end of the wire that needs to be soldered there. Solder it to a pin. A pin. Just a pin, a cloth pin.
I know what you're saying.
And just hold it there. Hold it there with, even with your hand. and see if the computer recognizes it. And if it recognizes it, just real quick, copy everything over to your hard drive and let go. You don't even need to solder.
I've got to get, what I've got to do is I've got to get my little miniature vise here and my jeweler's. I have a jeweler's hat, the kind with the tilt down magnifier. Yeah, like Arnie said. So I've got I can probably, I don't know that there's enough trace left there to solder to. I have to see.
Well, if you get stuck, call Gary. He can do anything.
Yeah, but the pin idea may work, Am9, because I can stick it in that hole there.
You just need to hold it. Forget about all that equipment that you're looking for. Put it on the disk and put the needle on it and hold it down.
Get Amnon to do it.
Plug it in.
Get some duct tape.
Yeah, bring it over
there.
here. If it's possible, it'll work. I mean, it doesn't need to be special vise.
I'm not trying to repair it for use. I'm just trying to repair it to take the stuff off of it. That's all.
I understand. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't need to be neat and all that. It just needs to work. Oh, well. You can come here in the afternoon and we'll do it.
All right.
And avoid the Gorilla Glue, yep.
Put it in the vacuum chamber and we'll get the electron microscope going and we'll...
Arnie is saying, avoid the Gorilla Glue.
Yes.
I agree.
Yeah. Now, Gorilla Glue is good for some things, but it's not... If you
watch
are
that video.
Upset by having it leak out, you have to plan for that when you glue something.
You look at that video and tell me.
Okay.
I challenge you, because if there is an error in his thinking, I would love to know where it is, because that glue was originally recommended by Norm.
Norm?
So is he saying that he's unhappy with the expansion of it, or he's unhappy with it as a glue in general?
At both. You watch that video and tell me.
All right.
Matthias Wandel.
Yeah, I see his homepage. I'm on his page now.
It's on Gorilla Glue sucks at filling gaps, and again, because it's and this is good advice for anyone, and that is, take everything you see and read with a grain of salt, particularly if it's in the mainstream media. It's probably a lie, or at least an error from incompetence. And so, I mean, there could be something wrong with his process. I think he's very methodical and scientific in the way he approaches things, and I would trust.
He looks like he's also a tech head, so he's not. The woodworking is just one part of his what he does. And
but anyway, that just and it's also fascinating to read. One of his videos is also fascinating to read the comments, because every time he suggests a creative way to do something, some moron will come in and post in the chat comments in the YouTube video. Well, another way to do this might be to such and such. It would be simpler. Yes. Well, if it's simpler than drawing two semicircles, then go ahead. And I mean, he's got a little edge to some of the things he says, but he's a very, very smart guy. I don't think he suffers fools very well.
So where do you? I'm looking to try to find the article on the glue.
Gorilla Glue sucks at filling gaps. Let's see where it is. It'll take me a minute to find it, because I clicked away from that page. There is his page there, and you click on.
I'm
his
searching
videos.
for it now.
I got it.
Okay.
I still have problems with YouTube, but their layout just sometimes doesn't make sense to me. But he also is very much into Panta routers, which I'm not really interested in, but it's pretty interesting. In fact, you'll love his stuff, because he has a video here that he posted 2 days ago that is called "Fixing Squirrel Damaged Cabinet Doors."
I see the picture.
2 days ago,
squirrel. What's the setup where squirrels are in the kitchen?
Well, it's not in the kitchen, actually, what turns out. But this was posted 2 days ago. He already has 27,000 views.
Wow.
I mean, you'd have to get porn to get that much traffic.
Yeah, that's like you watch some of these videos. I've been watching videos on doing rot repair, and some of the better stuff is Ron Hazeltine.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, he's got some good. I mean, he does it with hand tools and doesn't use any quick steps. And
well, that's what Paul Sellers does. PaulSellers.com.
And but I learned just by watching him, and it gave me, well, first of all, it made me not be afraid to try something. And it's a big part of some of the repairs that we do is repairing rotted wood. Some of it's straightforward. Some of it gets dicey when it's part of some other structure that you can't rip it all out.
I was looking yesterday for a storm door to replace downstairs where it shattered. So I was looking, and I don't want anything pretty and expensive. I want a basic door. So Lowe's had a nice one that would fit, 36-inch. And I read the reviews, and people were saying it's aluminum, from what I see to begin with. And people were saying, don't buy it, it will corrode. And I kept on reading, and there were a couple of people that explained that it has a wood core, and the water seeps in there, and the wood expands, and the water stayed there, and they were showing pictures of how it corrodes and how it bubbles, and some contractors were talking. And I'm saying, gosh, this is amazing. I would have never thought of that. So it doesn't seem like they're making the old-fashioned storm doors that just aluminum. I mean, I found one somewhere. I can't remember where it was, but there was just aluminum. That this hopefully will not happen to. But
you mean you're talking about the wood core stuff?
Yeah, I mean, wood core. They're saying do not buy, and there are a lot of them that are vinyl, but they have a wood core. And so anything with a wood core, it's a particle board, and any amount of moisture that gets in there, it starts expanding.
Yep.
And moisture will get to it, especially at the bottom. There's like a kick panel. The pictures that people showed after a year.
Yeah, it's bad. It rots the aluminum if it's
Yeah.
aluminum, it rots it from the inside out.
So,
Amnon Brad Staggs is in chat.
Hey,
with us
Brad.
listening to the show. Be careful what you say, because you got an expert among us.
no, I mean, I'd say it. And I was going to ask Brad yesterday if he knew anything about is the flit stuff, is it the same thing if it's a polish? They have some that's for metal.
Well, you heard what he said.
The what?
You heard what he said.
Yeah, that they have a lot of different products.
Well, he said it was good stuff.
Oh, I know it is.
See, Flitz rocks.
Yeah, but you see, there are different ones. And if you go and look on, let's say, on Amazon, there are packages that are all gray, and there are packages that have yellow in them. And I'm saying, and there's some subtle differences in what's on them. And some of them say that it's for plastic and acrylic, and I didn't. I mean, I ordered one, and I'm not going to order that ARS 1207 strictly because of the price. I mean, to use
Yeah,
it
we're
a
gonna
couple
borrow
of times.
Brad's.
The what?
We'll borrow Brad's.
Well, I mean, it's for one time, and you really don't need what I did in the meantime, since he mentioned it last week or the week before last. I went ahead and I was going to get it, and I found some fluid called Headlight Clean. That was $9, and I said, "Yeah, I'll try it for $9." And Kathy's lenses were kind of whitish. Used that, and it took like less than a minute. You just put it on a rag, rub it real hard around, and then just buff it. And they are like brand new. I took Kathy outside, and I said, look. And she said, what am I looking at? I said, just take a look at the front of the car. She said, you got me new headlights. I said, no. But if you put your hand on it, you still see that there are little bitty pits in the plastic, in that acrylic stuff, the lens. So I went ahead and I ordered that because the other stuff is not abrasive. This is supposed to be a little abrasive, so we'll see. But yeah, I read about
let's
it.
Wind it up. Gary's having a heart attack because we're going over. I guess we have to pay union dues.
Yeah, we're at triple pay now, right?
Yep.
Is Nick asleep
Sunday
or is he
double
just...
time.
No, he's not.
No, I'm here. I'm just on the Chromebook.
Yeah, Mike, I mean, what, do you have one that the lens is foggy on it?
Susan's car.
Yeah, bring it over.
I'll have her bring it over. I'm going to bed.
Tell her to bring it over. It won't take a minute.
You just told her to bring it over.
Okay.
What are you trying to do?
Clean it.
I
I'm
replace
almost
them.
to see if it works.
You can do it, but you got to have a buffer.
No, you don't. I did it on
It doesn't
Kathy's.
last. I tried.
Well, all of them, even if you have a buffer, they all say that it lasts about 6 months.
Yep.
Well, that's
I
why
bought
you have
new
to do
ones.
it again. What?
$40 a piece at rockauto.com. You get brand new acrylic lenses, whole assembly with bulbs.
Yeah, sure.
Well, the Mercedes wasn't cheap, but
It's
all my
about
other cars
$800
were
and
less
some
than $50.
dollars. Yeah.
I did the Hyundai, I did a Ford Focus, and I did a Honda Civic.
The
Honda
name
Accord.
the name of the stuff that I got, Dr. John, is Headlight Clean. That's the make of it, and I just bought the sample. It's like I think half ounce, but it's enough. They say it's enough for 10. I think it's enough for more than that. The other stuff that Brad was talking about that is really, I mean, I'm going to give it a shot for sure, is Flitz, Flitz. Yeah, that's right. Lexus will not be cheap either. And, I mean, if you have to spend about a minute every 6 months to just rub it on it, hey, because the ones that you're going to buy, sooner or later, are going to get like that too. So it's fine.
Yeah, it'll be several years, though, before they get opaque.
Yeah, it's like Brad says, you can probably use toothpaste.
Yeah, but the toothpaste depends which one. You need to work with a buffer that will...
Well, you won't get
Well,
cavities.
if you use toothpaste, the light will never have any cavities.
Right.
Yeah.
No, Susan, you can take it over to Amnon, and he's going to test his miracle stuff.
I already did it on Kathy's. I mean, I don't need to test it, but Kathy's wasn't very... I mean, the rag was full of brown stuff on it.
Yuck.
And I washed it. I washed the headlights before.
Yeah.
And it was full of... I mean, you could see it coming off.
Sure.
Well, essentially, all you're doing is repolishing the surface. It's not... You're taking off the oxidation and you're repolishing the surface. So if you do it with the right very, very fine sandpaper, you get 600 grit paper. You work your way up to it. I've seen it demoed where it's either been done by hand with a pad or with a buffer.
Yeah,
And in both cases, the results were good, but it was hours worth of work.
Now, I just took a washcloth, dabbed it, and I'm telling you to do both sides, 4 headlights. On the Mercedes, there's that big one, and then there's a small one. Took less than a minute.
The Mercedes the big and small headlights, that's one unit inside the car.
That's correct.
Yeah. Now, black paint.
Where did you buy
black-
the headlight clean, Amnon?
I can't remember if it was Amazon or eBay, one of the two.
Okay.
Just spray it with black paint. You'll never notice it again.
I mean, they are more interested in selling it to shops and all the talk on the website they show you, and there's and they say you can buy this and you can do this and you can make that much money with it and blah, blah, blah. But it works. Now, I mean, how long is it going to last? I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. All right.
All right.
Well, everybody, thank you. Happy New Year again, everybody. Anything else that anybody want to add?
Not me.
Nope. All right. Good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Kathy, and Donna. Thank you for tuning to Computers 2K Now, everybody. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. While you're at it, like us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You've been doing a great job. And tomorrow morning at 11, it is the Health Inn. At 1 o'clock, it's Breaking Free. We'll see you next week.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, Sundays, 9 a.m. till noon. Health In with Debbie Bruck, Mondays, 11 a.m. till noon. Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Mondays, 1 till 2 p.m. Lessons of Vietnam with NCVVI members, the second and fourth Wednesday of each month from 7:30 till 8:30 p.m. Reawaken Your Brilliance with Julie Seibert, Wednesdays, 9 till 10 p.m. And if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it at www.nissancommunications.com. Sponsored by ThatVidBlasterGuy.com, CarolinaApparel.com, and DeltaForce.net.